Good morning, Lexington County. This is Paul Kirby, and this
is what's left of David Tanner.
Good morning, David. How are you this morning?
I'm here.
That's great. We are here this morning with Good Morning Lexington County and the Sheely's PDQ Morning Show, bringing you all the news that is the news in Lexington County. We try to keep you up to date on everything that is happening in our community. We will have news, weather, sports, and all the happenings that are the happenings, and we're going to get right to the news this morning because a number of things have happened over the last 24 hours in regards to Lexington County. First of all, let me start with the weather. The weather right now, it's clear at about 76 degrees, building to a high of approximately 97 today. And again, with the afternoon thunderstorms that we are expecting this afternoon. Tonight, we'll have a low of 78 with evening showers and thunderstorms. And tomorrow morning, we're expecting tomorrow during the day, we're expecting a high of 99 degrees with scattered showers as well. Currently, the traffic has been clear most of the morning. We will continue to follow that and also bring you up to date on any emergencies as they occur. Now, the Good Morning Lexington County show and Sheely's PDQ Morning Show is brought to you by Sheely's PDQ at 1251 Main Street in South Congaree and Sheely's PDQ at 2 at number 1 Crystal Springs Drive in Edmond. We come to you every weekday from 6 to 8:30 with interesting guests and all news about Lexington County. This is a project and a part of the Southwest Lexington Ledger and an effort by the Midlands Daily to keep you informed about what's happening in our area. Yesterday afternoon, Lexington County 911 Dispatch Center received a call for service in the 1800 block of Old Cherokee Road. When they arrived, they found that 5 acres of woods were on fire. The fire required a number of firefighters and multiple pieces of equipment to bring it under control. County crews were also assisted by a unit from the South Carolina Forestry Commission. Personnel from EMS were on hand to assist the firefighters and to monitor their health and safety due to the extremely hot temperatures. Although the fire is now under control, it will continue to smolder for some time. Residents in the Farming Creek neighborhood off of St. Peter's Church Road will have heavy smoke conditions in their area over the next several days. Small fires may be seen inside of the fire break on Old Cherokee Road for some time. This is just some stumps that are burning and should not be a cause for alarm. The Lexington County Fire Service will continue to monitor the area as needed to make sure that the fire does not get out of control again. Also, yesterday afternoon, in the 100 block of Lake Dogwood Drive off of Platte Springs Road in the Three Fountains area, the fire service received a report of a house fire. When they arrived, they found smoke in the structure. They reported it as a working fire. Because there were no close fire hydrants, they used a pond close by to supply water for the fire trucks. They also brought in extra tanker trucks, which caused them to transmit a second alarm for those resources. The fire was brought under control in about 30 minutes. The extent of the fire is not known at this time. They have not released that cause of that fire as well. And then yesterday morning, during the morning show, we were reporting about a fire at CMC Metals that started in a grinder where they reclaim metal, mostly cars and other recyclables over in the Lexington area off of Two Notch Road at Bonham Richard Road. A second alarm was also transmitted for that fire to bring in more personnel and equipment. The water system at the plant was down at the time for some unknown reason. That's being looked into now. The fire service brought that fire under control in several hours and cleared that scene. A number of other things that will continue to go on in our community over the next couple of days and that we want you to be aware of. Several programs that you need to be aware of, and one of those is the Lexington Police Department's FAN program. As the warmest months of the year approach, the Lexington Police Department would like to remind everyone about their ongoing free fan program. If you are in need of a fan to stay cool during the hot summer days and are a citizen of the town of Lexington, you can go by the Lexington Police Department for assistance. The Lexington Police Department is also able to provide new portable box-style fans due to donations made throughout the year for that ongoing program. Chief Terrence Green, the chief of the police, said the Lexington Police Department has offered the free fan program for a number of years to assist those in that community who may not be able to stay cool otherwise. The program has been made possible from the generous support of those in our community, with individual and businesses making donations of fans to keep it going. Now, it does not mean that you necessarily have to have no fan, simply that that you have to have no air conditioning. You can also have an underperforming air condition. If you need a fan, you may stop by the police department. If you do not live in the town of Lexington, you can also call or stop by the police department, and they'll have resources where they can help you get put together with a program that does provide that. The sheriff's department also has a community action team, and you may call 803-785-8230 and ask for the community action team if you are suffering through the heat and need assistance. That team can put you together with agencies that will help you. The Lexington Police Department is still accepting donations of new box-style fans to continue this program. All donated fans must be new and in the original packaging. In-kind donation forms are available for donations through this program through the Lexington Police Department's Adopt a Cop Fund. The in-kind donation form includes a tax ID number for tax deduction purposes. Fans can be picked up at Lexington Police Department during the normal business hours at 111 Maiden Lane in Lexington. That's across the street from the Glass County Administration Building. Of course, their community action team members are available to assist citizens who need a fan that needs to be dropped off at their residence. And there's a liability form that you have to sign, but you can call Corporal Cameron Mortensen at 803-358-1504 or email him at cmortensen@lexsc.com for more information. Now, there is a family fun day coming up at the farmers market this weekend. You can come out to the farmers market on Charleston Highway, just south of the town of Casey, or city of Casey, out towards Gaston. That's this Saturday, July the 9th. Enjoy fun for the entire family. Shop local produce, certified SC products, sample treats from our commodity board or their commodity board, and enjoy music from a local DJ and a kids area. There will also be a food truck on site. Admission and parking are free, so you're welcome to go out and enjoy that as well. That's the South Carolina Farmers Market on Charleston Highway near the intersection of Gardner's Terrace Road between Casey and Gaston. Now, the town of Springdale would like to announce that Benton Park is back open and it looks amazing. Stop by and see the new grass and how it looks. The area has been sodded. Also, there's a new park, some new equipment installed on the Pond Drive Park that you should go by and see as well. They've also now have a new community compliance officer or coordinator, Vicki Panko has been around the town hall for some time. She has finished high school and is currently enrolled at Midlands Technical College. Vicki wants to be a police officer as soon as she turns 21. Sometimes you may have seen her volunteering in different capacities. She has worn many of the character costumes during town events in the park. She has put in numerous hours also with the police department while in high school. Now she will oversee the splash pad at Benton Park, and she also will deal with code enforcement issues throughout the town and will be responsible for everything from grass that needs to be cut to business licenses, trash violations, vision triangles at intersections, and newspapers that are left in the yard over a period of time. You will see her on a regular basis driving through the town slowly, looking for ways to make the town safer and ensure that your property values stay high. So look for her as well. She is going to be starting immediately, and she will be looking for those things. So be careful of that. You'll start seeing the old radar trailer out again in the town of Springdale. The town of Springdale Police Department will begin to use that again to let you know how fast you're going and how fast you should be going. This is a gentle warning that if you are seeing the trailer, that you could also soon be being seen by police officers. So keep that in mind. And the yard of the month for the town of Springdale was 3232 Glendale Road, yard of the month this year. So
that's sort of a subliminal.
Yeah, subliminal slow down arrest.
Yeah.
David, there's one that it has nothing to do with Lexington County, but I found it so interesting and necessary that I decided to do it this morning. And that is the town of Timminsville, South Carolina, has passed an ordinance to punish people wearing saggy pants. The town.
Let's all move to Timminsville.
Brother David's moved to Timminsville.
Let's move to Timminsville.
The town council approved new rules during a meeting Tuesday night by a 5-1 vote. Specifically, the ordinance prohibits anyone engaging in public nudity, displaying pornographic material in public, or wearing trousers or shorts where their undergarments are exposed. This has been an issue in a lot of areas with a lot of folks, and I think that Timminsville has just kind of manned up and decided to take it on. But definitely something that needs to be looked at. Or doesn't need to be looked at, as the case may be.
That's
somebody's underwear.
Yeah, good luck on enforcing that one.
Yeah, I agree, but thank
Good
goodness
luck
somebody's
on
at least
enforcing
taking
that.
a stand.
Yeah.
I stop at the same store every morning coming to work because it's the only 24-hour store between me and work. And yesterday morning, I stopped, and a young man got out of the car to go in the store before me, and he had on 3 pair of pants. And I was able to see all 3 clearly down below the pockets on all 3. Now, the bottom pair was boxer shorts, so they didn't have pockets. But his jeans were down below a pair of sports shorts or basketball type shorts, and you could actually see pockets on the back of the basketball shorts, and his jeans were down below there. And then the sports shorts were down far enough that I could see all of his underwear as if he didn't have pants on.
You think that town council that passed that ordinance was a bunch of old white guys?
Or ladies, yeah, there may be a few ladies on there.
Nah, ladies they're not that
They're not
controversial.
going to gut up and do that.
Unless their first name's Hillary and last name's Clinton.
Yeah, I was at least glad to see somebody taking a stand. I don't understand it, first of all.
I can help you understand it.
Well, what's the issue there? Because this young guy I saw going to the store in front of me was having to hold his pants with his other hand while he was walking.
Well, see, if you have to do that, then you don't have to get a job because you only have one arm. You can get disability.
We've been told that everybody wants to work, everybody wants to do better for themselves, everybody wants a job. They just need hope in their life.
Yeah.
By a screaming liberal.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that this morning.
Yeah.
I've had a bad night in regards to that. I've been trapped again into paying for something that I shouldn't have to pay for because of the fact that everybody knows if they don't plan for a problem that Daddy will end up.
Daddy will bail them out, huh?
Through Mama, through my welfare branch, the United States of Paul's welfare branch, Miss Susan will bail them out. So
you got to live with Mama, so you can't buck too hard.
Keep it shut and go on, even though you continually say, you need to save for a rainy day. You don't need to buy that. You need to put a little money in your back in case your transmission goes out.
There's a verse in Proverbs that says, better to live on the corner of a roof than, you don't know that one?
No.
Better live on the corner of a roof than in the house with a contentious woman.
Well, yeah, I
So,
can see that.
so if you
That's why the Bible's so smart.
And I speak from experience. When Mama sides with the kids and you buck Mama, guess what? Just go get on the corner of that
That's
roof.
right. That's exactly right. A number of other things coming up in the area that may or may not be in Lexington County, but certainly are ones that we would like to tell you about. Palmetto Tasty Tomato Festival coming up. Take your Marita bread and your Duke's mayonnaise and salt and pepper and go to the Palmetto Tasty Tomato Festival. You can find out more about that at eventsprout.com to register. Bethel United Methodist Church is having a vacation Bible school that is starting next week, the 11th through the 15th. That's at 811 Peachtree Rock Road between Sharps Hill, Edmond, and Pelion in the Peachtree Rock area of Lexington County. And that's United Methodist Church at Vacation Bible School. Yes, it's a little early, but don't stop thinking about the state fair just because it's hot. Registration for the home and craft department going on right now. If you are a winner, if you are a blue ribbon winner, or you'd like to be a blue ribbon winner, you can go and register in the home and craft department at www.sestatefair.org and look under the home and craft tab to perhaps enter your canned item, maybe a pie or a cake, and also any crafts that you do for around the house. Lexington School District 3's school supply lists are now available. You can find those on the Ledger website on the education page. So there's a link on our education page to the supply list website. It's hard to believe we're already thinking about going back to school and supply list for school. When's the last time you've had to deal with a supply list for school, David? A number of years?
Been a while. Well, I never had to deal with it anyway. That's what Mama's for.
They're a little insulting, I'll be honest with you, at times. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, like 16 glue sticks and boxes of tissue, Kleenex, and it doesn't take you long if you're a smart person to figure out that your child's not using that many Kleenex. So what they're doing is getting everybody to take as much as they can so that the families who just decide, well, I'm not doing that, or I can't do that, or I won't do that, is covered as well. So you end up with tons and tons of glue sticks, markers, pencils, erasers, glue sticks. You'd be surprised. Tape, yeah, it can be pretty gross.
But a lot of that stuff they do need, and the schools can't afford it.
Yeah.
Because they've got 15 levels of administration above the teachers that they got to pay for.
So they can't I heard that last night.
So they can't buy pencils for the children because they got A school district communications coordinators make $120,000 a year.
Ooh, are we going there this morning?
That sit there and peck on a computer.
Let me just
all day.
read you a few of these. 2 packs of 3 jumbo glue sticks. 2 packs of 8-count Crayola beginner crayons. 1 pack of 8-count Crayola markers. 1 pack of beginner pencils. I could see that. Expo markers, broad tip. That's the ones that you on the dry erase board.
Beginner pencils. That's the ones I use.
That's the one you still use.
Beginner pencils.
A pack of multicolored construction paper, pink erasers. You can't have yellow erasers. You can't have brown erasers. It must be pink erasers. A box of Kleenex, Ziploc bags for the boys, snack Ziploc bags for the girls. And the boys get gallon size and the girls get smaller. Now, there's got to be a thought behind that, but I don't understand.
Sounds like gender bias to me.
Well, it's also needs to. Now, this is for.
What if I'm a boy?
This is
and
5
like a girl?
and this is just your 5 and or 5K, 5-year-old kindergarten. A gallon bag of a gallon bag for the boys. Old T-shirt for art class, book sack, and then it just goes on and on and on and on and on. If you get a little older, it gets let's just say here's 4th grade. 2 boxes of Kleenex, hand sanitizer, pencils, crayons, clipboard, highlighters, colored pencils, scissors, bottle of stick glue, composite notebooks, expo markers, pack of notebook paper, and again the gallon trash bag. Students will be responsible for replenishing supplies as needed, by the way. So if they run out, that's not enough for the full year, then you'll be responsible for buying those again as well. I knew that you would have something, and that's District 3. That's not District 1, by the way. That's the Batesburg-Leesville district.
No, it's just a crying shame that all these, you know the educational types, okay? And I hope my daughter's not listening because she works for Coastal Carolina University.
Yeah.
But she's not a teacher type administration type person. But you know these types. They go to school, they make straight A's, but they never want to get out in the real world. They want to stay in school the rest of their life, and they go to work at the school. Okay, have no clue what real life's about. Okay, because that's all they've ever done has been in quote administration. Okay?
Right.
And there's 15 levels of that administration bureaucracy, that are above the teachers, who are making no money, and who a lot of times have to spend money out of their pocket to help these kids, because a lot of these kids' parents can't afford that stuff.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
So the teachers, and most of the teachers are pretty good people that are doing it for the right reason. The teachers have to come out of their pocket to buy this kind of stuff.
For the Kleenex and the dry erase markers.
For all that stuff. But thank God we got the lottery that's going to save us from all this. Don't you remember when they told us how the lottery was going to solve all our money problems?
Yep.
And all you people that are listening right now that voted for the lottery, we got to have a lottery. I told you so.
Let me say this. You will have an opportunity to make a change this year because there will be a school board election in the November general election. The filing starts, I believe, in August, and we'll be back into another political season. So if you're concerned about what's going on with your school district, simply make sure that you're registered and that you vote.
Do you know they spent more money moving dirt to build River Bluff High School because they built it on the side of a cliff than they did on actually building the high school itself?
It was a bluff.
It was a bluff, on the
Not
side of a bluff.
It was not River Cliff High School. It's River Bluff High School. Yes, I do know that they spent a great deal of money moving dirt at River Bluff, yes, to build it. Then they did for what? The school itself? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get the land to where you can build on it, and then you got to build on it.
Right.
Okay? They spent more money getting the land to the point where they can build on it than they actually spent building the school.
I did not know that the dirt work was more expensive.
The
than
dirt,
building it,
yeah.
so.
I forget how many million they said it was to move all that dirt. Somebody that I know that's in the dirt business told me that.
Yeah, I
You
knew.
probably know
yeah,
too.
I know the man in the dirt business that said that. Yeah. Going to not to get too far off track just yet. Silly Snowball is
I'm
opening
awake
this
now.
Saturday. They will be having their soft opening, which means that they will have an opening where everybody will get together and they'll be in a training period for a week. But you can go in and buy a snowball at 786 Main Street in South Congaree starting this Saturday, and then they have their grand opening the following Saturday, the 16th. Also, the South Congaree House of Pizza is going strong after 13 years. There is a story in the Ledger about them and how great they're doing, and you can find that on the business page of the Ledger. By the way, they're not planning any expansion right now anywhere. There's been some rumor that they were expanding into the Peonia area, and that is not true.
Let me tell you about South Congaree House Pizza.
Tell me about South.
You know how famous Sheely's is up in Batesburg?
Yes, I do.
Okay. A lot of people don't realize South Congaree House Pizza is kind of in that same genre. There was a girl, little local girl that does these beauty pageants.
Right.
I mean, like 6 years old, 7 years old. And she goes all over the nation doing these beauty pageants. She's very famous. She's been on one of these TV shows, these national TV shows. Very famous. We're in there eating one night. Her and her whole entourage comes in there to eat.
Now, how old is this girl?
Probably 6 years old.
She's got an entourage at 6 years old.
She's got an entourage at 6 years old.
Oh,
She's
my.
got a national coach that's a former Miss something, who's a walking, talking, Barbie doll. Her mama, the rest of the people that manage her. Anyway, they all walk in, and I'm like, this is South Congaree House of Pizza, But obviously, the South Congaree House of Pizza is gaining quite a reputation.
I call that kind of place a destination spot. People go there as it's not like, okay, we're here, so we'll eat while we're here. We're going there to eat.
And we do that.
Yeah.
We do that. We come all the way from out close to Michelin to come all the way here, which is not on the way anywhere, just to eat there.
Yeah, and it is very good. And they're good friends of us. I actually, on their soft opening years ago, when I was writing for another paper, I was invited to their soft opening, and I took my family down and have been impressed with it ever since. There are certain places that you just have to go try. And they have their own different ambiance. Their Greek and specialty pizzas and their Greek food and is different than what you would get here at Sheely's PDQ in South Congaree, but it's a completely different genre, if you will, of food.
Oh, yeah.
If you want American Diner, come to Sheely's PDQ. If you want that type of meal, then that's the place to go.
But they've got all kind of other stuff too. I mean, they really need to change the name.
Yeah, because it's not about pizza.
I've
never had a pizza.
I've never had pizza there.
I've never had a pizza.
Never had
myself.
pizza there.
Yeah, never had a pizza.
I have the stir fry. They have an awesome stir fry.
Their steaks are good too.
Steaks are good. Burgers are good.
Yeah.
And my wife always gets the pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely a good place. But you can read the story in the Ledger on the business page. Just go to www.swlexledger and swlexledger.com and navigate over to the business page. Now, here's something that I want to bring up, but it's not in Lexington County, but half of it would be in Lexington County because it's on the river. The city of Columbia, Richland County, and Lexington County itself is having the 7th annual Summer Celebration of Water at the Riverfront Park in Columbia on Saturday, April the 27th from 10 to 2. This water-themed festival.
April 27th?
No, excuse me, did I say August 27th?
Okay.
August the 27th, 10 to 2. The water-themed festival, which is right up my alley because I'm a water-type guy, provides residents of Middleton free access to kayaking, boating, and paddleboarding on the Columbia Canal, as well as kid-friendly water slide and splash activities. Exhibits feature hands-on learning activities to demonstrate the ways that everyone can care for our waterways so that they remain swimmable, beautiful, and fishable. I love the river and the canal and that area, and people just don't realize how blessed we are to have that here.
Oh, man.
You ever taken a float trip on the river? You can hire an outfitter that's very inexpensive and go float tripping on the river.
I can hire an inner tube that's free and go on a float trip.
The one I went on actually was canoes, and that's the reason I think we hired the outfitter, because we took like 15 of us in canoes. I've actually canoed from Columbia all the way past 601 Bridge when I was in Boy Scouts.
Really?
Yeah, I spent a night halfway down. I started at Granby Landing in Casey, loaded up the canoes, went halfway down, camped on a sandbar, and then finished out the next day all the way to 601.
Canoeing sounds like too much work to me. I like the floating on the raft.
I enjoy that too, and it was too much to paddle from Columbia to 601 on a 2-day trip. It was really a lot of work. The next time we went, we put in around T-Pack in Calhoun County and did it, and we had much more time just to goof off and play, and that's the most fun part. So.
Yeah, the goof off part.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Community volunteers are needed to staff that festival. So to volunteer, you can contact Jennifer Satterwait at, I may well give you that address. Call us, we'll give it to you. Or call her at 545-0184. That's the summercelebrationofwater.com for more information.
Summercelebrationofwater.com.
Yeah, the town of Lexington has notified their garbage collector has been delayed picking up one day. That's advanced disposal. Imagine that. Having a problem with the garbage collector, advanced disposal. Tuesday collection will now be picked up on Wednesday. They apologize for any inconvenience and late notification on this matter. Thanks for your patience, they say, in regards to that matter. If you have a problem, call 359-1027. 359-1027 if you have garbage problems in that area. Imagine anybody will call?
Nah, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal.
I hear more complaints about garbage service than I do just about anything. I really do. In fact, I know a close personal friend of mine, Senator Katrina Shealy. She can be quite a fireball.
She didn't say she was a close personal friend of yours.
She is. Okay, I'm saying it. Close personal friend of mine. She was leaving her home one day and got behind the garbage truck picking up trash in Red Bank, and the fellas that threw the trash in simply dumped it over in without compacting it or without trying to contain it anyway. Just drove off, and it began to blow out the back of the truck. Well, now Senator Shealy is not your typical passive. Yeah,
she's feisty.
She's a little feisty. She pulled them over. She ran them down at the next stop. She got out and really unloaded on them about what they were doing to her community. And I kind of like that. I was kind of glad to hear that she stood up for the good folks of White Knoll and Red Bank and said, hey, this is not right. And you need to turn that truck around.
And pull them pants up while you're at it.
And go back. And don't go to Timmonsville. You may get a ticket. And end up, made them turn around and go back and pick up the trash that they had flying out of the truck while they were going down the road. So, amen. Stick it to the garbage man.
Stick it to the garbage man.
But we appreciate her and all that she does for our community, and I agree with that. I have to say that makes me, the 302 corridor, Evan Highway corridor between the airport and the landfill lane is terrible, and a lot of it comes from trucks carrying trash to our landfill, and it shouldn't be
just blowing out, just like
that. I'm not saying how it got there, but it's not in the landfill; it's on the side of the road. A few weeks ago, I called our South Region Refuse Control Officer, John Hatchell, and told him, I said, John, right at Scenic Drive in 302, there's a big bag of trash laying in the road, and it's going everywhere. And he sent somebody down there not only to clean it up and try to figure out who dropped it, but somebody dropped it, and it had a bunch of blue papers in it that were everywhere. So.
We used to have people dump trash on our property out on Bluefield Road. It's a dirt road.
Yeah,
people dump all the time. So we one time they dumped some kitchen trash, and we went through it and found out the address on the mail in there.
Yeah.
And we went and looked them up, and they had just moved. So when they were cleaning up, they just everything they cleaned up, they just dumped on our property and moved. So we couldn't run them down, but I was gonna run them down.
You were gonna look them up.
I found that address. I was gonna look them up.
It's not surprising to me to note that there are pretty heavy fines against that, and we do have refuse control officers that work for the sheriff's department. That's what they do. They go through that trash and they look for things like pieces of mail in there, and they will come to your house and they will get you. They will make you clean up your mess, and they will fine you. And you can also be forced to pick up trash on the side of the road in humiliation as a part of your punishment for doing that. So, did you know that there are laws now that make shingle dumping a felony?
Really?
Yeah, there's felony littering in regards to shingle dumping. I did not know, and I knew as a firefighter for years and years and years, we would run up to them in the case of a wildland fire where big piles of shingles would be burning, causing tremendous problems, and take forever to put them out and to pull them apart by hand to get water down in them, and they had this black acrid smoke because so much oil in them. And so there are felony shingle dumping laws now.
Now, do you think our federal government passed that law because of
I don't know if it's a federal law.
Throwing a bone to the firefighters, or because they didn't want that bad toxic tar seeping down into the ground and harming Mother Nature?
I don't know. It's a state law. I don't think it had anything to do with firefighters, honestly.
Okay.
I really don't.
That answers my question.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with firefighters. I think that at one point it got to be such a problem, like the tire dumping problem. Now they address that finally. Every time you buy a new tire, there's a disposal fee tacked on to get rid of the old tires, but now some people do collect the disposal fees and still hide them. If you remember down between St. Matthews and Santee a few years back, they found several million tires hidden on a piece of property. That they actually ran up on, and that guy was keeping the whatever it was, $2 disposable fee or whatever, on tires, and putting the tires in the woods. And so big issue. There's over a gallon of oil in a tire. a regular car tire.
Yeah, I never paid a disposal fee because I dump my tires myself out in the woods.
Again, I'm going to take your address and your phone number and stick it up here on one of these computer screens so that the law and everybody else that you offend can find you. David Tanner, Muddy Springs Road, Lexington, South Carolina. Shouldn't be hard.
I'm for the law when the law is trying to make people pull the drawers up.
But not when they're making you throw away your tire in the right place.
But not when it gets to this environmentally correct tree hugger.
Well, I'll be honest
junk.
with you. I have fought tire fires before, and I hope they dispose of them in the right way because that's a booger.
And again, that's why I asked you the question.
Yeah.
If the motivation is to help firefighters and keep those things from smoldering for days and days and days, I can understand how that's different than regular trash.
Yeah. Well, here's another problem too with them, and we've talked about having this on. In fact, we've talked to Harrison Cahill, inspector from Lexington County, about this, and I need to get back with him today about this. They're a huge problem in regards to communicable disease and pest. Tires hold water, and they breed in mosquitoes, and that can create huge problems in communicable disease. A lot of diseases are spread that way through mosquitoes, and they breed mosquitoes because they hold water in. And do you know that you can't bury a tire in whole? That's truth.
You do what now?
You cannot bury a tire, like landfill a tire in its whole form. They'll come back to the top. They resurface. Serious business, yes.
Really?
Yes, sir. There used to be a machine at the Lexington County landfill that would cut them in half, and then you can bury them. You can put them on this machine and it would split them in half, and you can bury them, but you cannot landfill a tire in whole because it traps air in it and it works its way back to the top. Doesn't matter how much dirt you put on top of it.
Wow, that's cool.
It is cool, and again, I would imagine they still got it out there. But if people try to throw them away, I don't know that they even let you do anymore now. That you have to dispose of them in some proper ways. And they found ways to recycle them, of course, and to do all kinds of things with them. There was a big operation in the Batesburg-Leesville area at one time. It was chipping them. They were used as an alternative septic tank method at one time.
Huh.
All kind of different things, but they've tried over and over and over again to find ways to use them. And I'm not sure what's happening with them nowadays, how they're disposed of. But yeah, they'll come to the top. If you bury a tire, no matter how much dirt you put on top of it, it will eventually resurface.
Wow.
So that's pretty good.
That is cool.
Hey, we got to tell you about our sponsors now that we've talked about tires and trash all morning. Sheely's PDQ at 1251 Main Street is where our studio is located, and number 1 Crystal Springs Drive is where you'll find Sheely's PDQ 2 for great meals every day. Stop and see the good folks at Sheely's PDQ. You can try the meat and 3 vegetables for lunch at Sheely's PDQ on Main Street in South Hungary. That's meat, 3 vegetables, and a medium drink for $7.99. Or you can get that at supper time as well at Sheely's PDQ 2. Different day, different things. I think today's pork chop day at Sheely's PDQ 2. I still had some chicken from yesterday when I was eating lunch here. They had some chicken left from the weekend that I enjoyed. It was great. We always go for the breakfast, which includes the sausage roll-ups, the pancakes, the chicken lettuce and tomato biscuits that you like so much, David. But great meals, great food, great people. 1251 Main Street in South Hungary or Crystal Springs Drive in Edmond. And eventually, coming soon, the Sheely's app that will allow you to order online.
That's
Isn't
what
that
they
right,
say.
David?
That's what they say.
I hear that anyway. A Sheely's PDQ app which will allow you to order your cook-to-order items online. Speaking of apps, you can download the Ledger app. The Ledger app has been busy the last few days. Yesterday afternoon, storms came through. We had to alert the app. Yesterday afternoon, a fire blocked a road. We had to alert the app. Things have been going on. Major traffic signal out yesterday afternoon. A number of them were knocked out by winds and rain and lightning, including the one at 2 Notch in South Lake Drive, right by the Piggly Wiggly, which is a major intersection. Bad place for the app to go out. So, the traffic light to go out. So we use the app to let you know. And you can find the Ledger app in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store by searching the Southwest Lexington Ledger or Paul Kirby. It's absolutely free. You can also get great coupons on there as well for savings in regards to businesses that advertise with the Ledger. Don't forget about CBD oil, Absolute Choice. There's now a website where you can buy your Absolute Choice CBD oil at absolutechoicecbd.com. That's www.absolutechoicecbd.com. CBD oil is the oil of the hemp plant, and it is a natural pain reliever. It helps with rheumatoid arthritis, conditions like acne, gastric ulcers, treatment of Crohn's disease. It's shown great results in seizure disorders, children and adults, and also prevents things like CNS disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. You can call us here at the Ledger at 803-587-3144 or stop by at 1251 Main Street in South Congaree to get some, or you can simply go to www.absolutechoicecbd.com and order yours today. It is easily shipped in the mail, so we'll be glad to ship it to you. Just let us know what you need. The prices are there, the products are there. You can vape it, which means that you put it in a vaporizer and actually draw on it like a alternative to a cigarette. You can use the drops. There's even rubs and waxes now and daubs, so you can do it. Use CBD oil in different ways, and we appreciate that. And one last thing I'd like to point out to you: if you've been involved in an accident, if you've had an automobile accident or a work-related accident, don't consider yourself okay until you've been fully checked out. After you've had an accident, your body immediately begins to produce endorphins that are your natural pain relievers in your body. Parts begin to swell to brace against further injury. And so you may feel okay for a few minutes or even a few hours or a few days, but go get checked out and get checked out quickly so that you'll know the extent of your injuries, and you can do that at White Knoll Family Wellness. Dr. David Gouldy in Red Bank on South Lake Drive next to the Hardys. He can do a full slate of x-rays and ask you about your injuries. You may be experiencing a limited range of motion in your neck or shoulders. You may have pain in your back, your feet, numbness. Any of those kind of things may indicate that you have a serious injury. Go by and see Dr. David Gouldy, the doctor of chiropractic. He'll also be here Friday morning to talk about chiropractic and the importance of your spine and spine health, and also new alternatives for weight loss that are available. So tune in Friday morning at 7 a.m. and hear Dr. David Gouldy. And guess what else happens on Friday at 7 a.m., David?
What?
If I can remember it, during that 7 o'clock block is the Rodeo Word of the Week. And we had a winner this week. Ms. Elaine Joyner won a family 4-pack of tickets to the rodeo by simply getting the Rodeo Word of the Week and emailing it to swlexledger@gmail.com. She was entered into a contest and won a family 4-pack of tickets coming up to the South Congaree Rodeo, which is the 29th, 30th, and 31st of next month. And we have already started the rodeo advertising. The Friday and Saturday night rodeo begins at 8 p.m. Gates open at 6. On Sunday, there's a matinee at 3:30. The gates open at 1. That's at 395 Oak Street in South Congaree. World-class cowboys and cowgirls, food vendors, mechanical bull, pony rides, covered arena, even inflatables, lots to do at the South Congaree Rodeo. Tickets are currently on sale. In advance, you can buy a ticket for an adult for $14. Youth ages 6 to 12, $7. And children under 6 years old are admitted for free. Now that is a championship rodeo, including all of the things that you enjoy doing in a rodeo, like bronc riding, saddle bronc riding, bareback riding. So all those kind of things happening, and we look forward to having that rodeo in town. We're excited about that.
So you said mechanical bull.
There's going to be a mechanical bull as well as the real one. So you can go warm up on the mechanical bull, and if you're really feeling your oats, then jump on the back of the big boys. So, and there are opportunities for local people to ride some that they'd like to.
The mechanical bull or the real horse?
I think there's actually some opportunities for local cowboys to ride if they'd like to. The real deal.
Well, see, that leaves me out. You said local cowboys.
And you're just a boy.
Yeah, I'm just a coward.
Bull riding, cow roping, bareback bronc riding, team roping, steer wrestling, saddle bronc riding, cowgirl breakaway roping, and cowgirl barrel racing are just some of the things that you may see at the July 29th, 30th, 31st South Congaree Championship Rodeo. This is the real deal. This is like you see in Oklahoma or Las Vegas. This is a championship rodeo. Ken Treadaway's bringing the stock, David, and these are championship bulls. I think they come with an entourage. The animals come with their own entourage to care for them, and paparazzi follows them around. I don't know that they wear sunglasses, but pretty close. These are very famous animals. I used to get a little snicker out of folks that wanted to protest the way that rodeo animals were treated. There was all these rumors that they put burrs under the saddles, and let me tell you something. I watched very closely during the Old Congaree Western Weekend Rodeo and Festival. These are some of the best treated animals in the world. They spend most of their life in a calm pasture, eating grass and enjoying the days, and in barns and enclosures at night if they like to. The guys can spend all the time they want with the ladies, and the ladies with the men, and they work for 8 seconds at a time.
Yeah, and if you're really good, you get put out to stud.
That's exactly right. And let me tell you this: they are so well trained that, and I have watched this myself, and I can personally attest to this. When that horn blows at the end of that 8 seconds, they're done. Most of them are done. If the cowboy or cowgirl or whoever's off, they are done. And they just stop and walk out. I mean, show's over. It's done.
I've done my thing.
Where's the red carpet party? I mean, it's really amazing, especially the older ones. In fact, of course, they have what they call picking up slack. You can't do but so many bull riders, for instance, during the actual performance of the rodeo, because it would get boring if you had 46 bull riders. First of all, you'd be there till 2 a.m. If you let everybody ride in every class. So they pick a certain amount. Let's say 5 bronc riders, saddle bronc riders, 5 bareback bronc riders, 10 bull riders, 10 steer ropers. They have a certain amount that are actually during the rodeo time itself, so that the show continues to move and flow, and you just don't get bored with the same category. But everybody gets the opportunity to ride and compete and win points, and they win points by the dollars they win. So you can do what they call pick up slack, and that is the riders that are riding for the same points, the same championship animals, but it's done after the official closing of the rodeo. So they're just riding for points. Now, if you want to stay, you can stay and watch as an audience member, but you're not going to see all the bull riders per se during the actual rodeo itself. But sometimes I've seen them use younger stock, younger or less experienced stock, trying it out. Perhaps somebody's trying to sell the stock contractor some younger or less experienced stock, and so they say, okay, well, we've got some younger cowboys that are going to be riding in the slack, and we'll let them ride those younger bulls and see how they work out. And those bulls are not as well trained, and they do not have the experience of the older bulls. And when the buzzer blows and the time is done, the 8 seconds is done, they may not stop, or they might not realize they're supposed to head to that open gate at the end of the arena where they go out. And I have literally seen younger cowboys that were working the rodeo try to force them out, try to rope them and pull them out, or scare them out, and have no luck. And the older cowboys would go, just stop. Get one of the older bulls and run him out there. They would run one of the older, more experienced bulls out there. He would walk around for a few minutes. Of course, the younger bull would be upset. People had been chasing him, trying to get him to leave. And he would go up close to the old bull, and then they would open the gate. The old bull would walk towards the gate like he knew he was supposed to do, and the younger bull would follow him. Follow the leader, out he'd go. And it was always so funny to watch, again, the younger people, younger cowboys, and try and force, and the older guys would use finesse, and it worked every time. So I always enjoyed going to the rodeo, and I'm looking forward to it. It's the 29th, 30th, and 31st of this month. And we'll be there. We're actually going to do some live streaming via YouTube. I think we're going to be Facebook live streaming there with some actual rodeo interviews and things like that. And we'll be there the 29th, 30th, and 31st of July for the championship rodeo in South Congress. So
we'll be live streaming Paul Kirby riding the mechanical bull.
Yeah, right. And then I'll go over to Pilgrim's Pharmacy and pick up some pain pills.
When those endorphins wear off.
That's exactly right. So, or go see Dr. Dave and get my back cracked.
Yeah, there you go.
But we look forward to them. David, we got a little bit of Bloodfish news. I think the Bloodfish lost. They kind of had a little losing streak going on here.
Yeah, at least they're consistent.
Well, they have been consistently winning, so we need to get them back in the winning ways.
Forest City, North Carolina. Last night, the Lexington County Blowfish visited Forest City Owls in Western Division play. Hayden Deal got the start on the mound for the Blowfish. Early in the bottom of the first, the Owls scored 2 runs, and in the fourth, gained 4 more. Blowfish made a push at the Owls in the fifth, scoring 3 runs, but would be held scoreless until the ninth, where the Blowfish were able to get 1 run across the plate. Lexington County was unable to get much going offensively, and that's kind of been the thing lately.
The offense has been off.
Just not hitting the ball, and our pitching's not keeping the other team from hitting the ball, so that's kind of a bad combination. Lexington County was unable to get much going offensively due to the defensive plays by the Owls, Jared Williams, Chaz McCormick, and Brett Auckland were the hot hitters tonight for the Blowfish. All three players finished with at least 2 hits and 3 runs scored. Final score: Forest City 8, Blowfish 3. And the Blowfish will take on the Florence Red Wolves tonight on the road at 7:05 p.m. And I think we've probably played Florence 10 times this year and maybe won 9 of them. So I'd say the odds are pretty good that we might pick up a win tonight.
Well, good. We certainly could use it. Now, so basically, with no way to get the offense going, we've had some major problems in the last. And it seems like we don't travel well. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. We that's a tough deal. I don't know where's Forest City? Isn't that out on the coast somewhere or no? Or is that up toward
Forest City, North Carolina?
Yeah, Rutherfordton area. I don't know, but you're talking 2, 3, 4 hours on a bus. And then you got to get all jacked up and play, and then 2, 3, 4 hours back on the bus, and then get up tomorrow and do it again, and it's 100 degrees. That's a tough deal, and that's why road, especially in baseball, home and road games, it's a big advantage to be a home team. Big advantage to be a home team.
Yep. We've got a fire being dispatched right now in Batesburg, Leesville. Fire being dispatched in the Batesburg, Leesville area of the county on Brook Street. So a number of fire units are already moving.
Yeah.
So it's near Rutherford. I don't want to get too far off track here.
Yes, up toward Rutherfordton.
Yeah, the fire is actually on Brooks Street in the Batesburg, Leesville area, and they've just dispatched fire trucks there. So let's keep those folks in our prayers and keep that in mind. And we were just looking at where Forest City, North Carolina was, and it's up just across the state line over I-26. That is over, like as you're going up in towards the Asheville area, it looks like above Spartanburg. To the northeast of Spartanburg is where Forest City, North Carolina is, which is where the Blowfish played. But we want to keep that the folks in mind in regards to the fire. We hope that there's nothing to it. We haven't heard much yet. We'll let you know more as we know more. So please watch for fire trucks. If you're being approached by one or ever taken by a fire truck or an ambulance or a police car, pull to the right, come to a complete stop. But they're responding to a fire in Brooks Street in the Batesburg, Leesville area of Lexington County. So it seems like it's been a couple of bad days for fires lately, David.
Well, those guys were getting lazy and out of shape, so just kind of whipping them back into shape there. You ready for me to quit setting all these fires?
Yes. Again, I'm just going to get your name, address, and phone number and put it up here. So every time you say something controversial, I'll just make sure that everybody knows how to get a hold of you. And they can flood David Tanner's phone with hate mail. But yeah, that is actually in the town of Batesburg, Leesville. So I'm just looking here out towards off of 178, like you're going towards Saluda. So let's keep that in mind that is going on right now. Traffic-wise, we don't have any traffic conditions to report, and the weather is currently clear and in the mid to late 70s or high 70s, and then today we're building to a high of 97, again with afternoon showers spread all over the place, and then tonight a low of 78 with more showers expected, and tomorrow a high of 99. We've already set a number of records here, so just be careful of that as well. David, we've talked about the Blowfish. What's going on in Midlands Daily? Anything important and interesting today? Have you already published it today? Are we working on that?
Still working on it. But yeah, we've got a lot of articles up, ready to go, ready to be published. 5 facts about America's political independence is something people may want to take a look
I
at.
created a monster when I brought you into all this politics.
I didn't write the article. I just published it. I just copy it from somewhere else.
Suddenly, David Tanner has become a political beast.
No, I noticed you didn't say political expert.
No, I did not.
It's a difference between a beast and an expert. Here's a good one. How to make boring church announcements memorable. How like that?
I'd love to hear that one.
Yeah, well.
Please take note.
TheMidlandsDaily.com. You can go
I don't
read
even
it.
get a preview.
You can go read it.
I've got to go read it. How to make boring church announcements memorable. That has got to be a good one.
Well, the article starts out, I grew up in church, and by my calculation, I've heard 10,931 church announcements or thereabouts. I only remember one of them. What did I only remember about that one? before I give you the answer, and then you have to redress the article. Yeah. How you like that?
Was it done like did the preacher do it in his underwear or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you read the article?
I used to have to do that at church.
Do the announcements?
Yeah, and I hated that. If I got up and had to teach or speak on something I was knowledgeable about, no problem.
No problem.
Didn't matter how many people were out there. But if I had to get up and just read announcements and try to not sound boring, that was the most intimidating task.
That's a tough task for anybody at church, really is. So,
but anyway, I thought people would like it.
I'll have to read that one. TheMidlandsDaily.com, you can find it.
Yep.
How to make regular church announcements not be boring.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's why places like New Spring and a lot of these newer types of churches are so popular, is because for all the bad things people say about them, one thing you can say good about them is they get it.
They're not boring.
They're not boring. People don't want to go be bored. I can sit home and be bored. And the one thing I will say about New Spring, I don't go to New Spring, and we don't get paid to promote New Spring. But one thing I will say about New Spring, we were down at the beach a couple of weekends ago and went one Sunday night to see my son's girlfriend get baptized. And the preacher that preached that night, man, he brought it.
He was on fire.
He stepped on more toes than I do when I'm on this show in
possible.
the morning. He was getting on them, but in a nice, loving way. And, so a lot of people have a lot of problems with the new churches that aren't as traditional, but at the end of the day, principles never change, but the ways you reach people sometimes need to. So.
I understand that there is an ark somewhere out in the Midwest now that you can actually go tour. That's a real size model of Noah's Ark.
Yeah, a Bible-sized Noah's Ark. Had its National Media Day in Kentucky. I don't know if that's Midwest or not. I guess it is. I guess that's sort of.
Not quite west just yet. It's
that's southeast, a little bit of Ohio.
Yeah, a little bit.
So getting close. Anyway, have you ever wondered what it would have been like to take a ride on Noah's Ark? Well, an attraction in northern Kentucky that's based on the Genesis story is garnering a lot of attention from several news stations. Local and media outlets such as NPR. There you go.
Oh.
Good old NPR coverage.
Did you hear the NPR controversy? Go on, finish that, and I'll tell you. You have to hear the NPR controversy.
The New York Times and the ABC News are all talking about this new attraction. Yeah.
NPR, the New York Times,
and the ABC News.
Oh, that's good.
The Ark Encounter opens Thursday, July the 7th. That's tomorrow. Yeah. The life-size ark built to the specifications given to Noah in Genesis chapter 6 is 510 feet long, 86 feet wide, and can hold as many as 10,000 people. In an interview with local news station WCPO, Larry Ross said the ark is the largest freestanding timber structure in the world. The attraction has already pre-sold several thousand tickets for opening day. The CEO of Answers in Genesis, the organization behind the Ark Encounter, and also the creators of the nearby Creation Museum, Ken Ham, says he believes the attraction is going to be one of the greatest Christian outreaches in our era of history. The makers of the Ark Encounter emphasize that the attraction is geared toward Christians and non-Christians alike. One of their main goals, besides giving people a tangible impression of the biblical story, is to share the gospel with everyone who enters the Ark. Several news stations mentioned the controversy the attraction has stirred.
They've already had controversy?
Controversy.
Why is there controversy in regards to it?
Well, you can't bring the Bible and Christianity and stuff like that into public life. That's just...
Well, NPR's covering it. National Public Radio.
Well, they're
financed by our federal government.
They're covering it to create a controversy. I mean, if you're going to create a controversy...
NPR's already had controversy
You need to know what you're talking about.
Have you followed NPR's controversy this week?
No.
Somebody made a really bad decision. Yeah. Every year at the 4th of July, they cover live the National Fireworks Show in Washington, D.C. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, there's a little problem with this year. It was foggy and overcast and rainy, so they cut in stored footage from another year into the live broadcast. So basically the fireworks show that they were showing was not the live version at all, but a pre-recorded one from a previous year. And this is how apparently stupid they think Americans are. Right now, the Capitol is undergoing a major renovation, and the dome is being renovated. So there's scaffolding all around the Capitol dome, and the cut-in videotape had no scaffolding around the dome of the Capitol. So they had portions of the live part that were, that were covered live that showed the scaffolding, but it was foggy and rainy and overcast. So they just cut in a portion that was not. How you like that one?
Hey.
So, Americans must be silly, and we're financing that with our federal government, by the way.
Yeah.
I'd stop and tell you that the fire in Batesburg, Leesville is a working fire. That means that they are pulling lines and all hands are working on that fire. That's Brooks Street in Batesburg, Leesville. There will be hoses laid in there, fire hoses, so be careful of that. We're going to use our app to inform you a little bit more about that as we can. But keep in mind that that's Brooks Street in Batesburg, Leesville. And in about 4 minutes, we're going to cut the break. And when we come back, we'll have James Scaife here, our computer and IT professional, will be here today talking about computer problems, including hardware, software, malware, spyware, adware, and all things computers. So we're looking forward to James being here. It's about 3 minutes from now.
So earlier we were talking about underwear.
Well, we were talking about it being illegal to show your underwear because Timmonsville finally manned up and made it illegal to bust a sag into town.
Bust a sag. I like that.
You
I like that. Yeah.
That's a kid term for showing your underwear.
Yeah. Bust a sag. You know where the baggy drawers, you know where that originated?
No, I don't.
You really don't.
My baggy drawers research is not.
All right, all you thugs, listen up.
Okay, go. Bust it to us.
If you were in prison and you were one of the guys that was available to be a woman, you wore your drawers down around your butt cheeks, and that was the signal that.
How did we find this out? Is there like David's
James
book of resources?
James Scaife from CompuStation told me that.
Found it on the internet.
I'm just telling you. I'm just saying. So go ahead, all you guys that want to wear your drawers down around your knees.
I have certainly got an education. I've educated you about the importance of local politics, and you have educated me about cloud seating and prison etiquette, the dress code in prison.
Thug life.
Thug life. I just want to thank you for that.
Yeah, well, just want to be a blessing.
What else is happening in the middle of the daily, David?
I finished reading the rest of the article, and the last paragraph of the article says several news stations mentioned the controversy the attraction has stirred. Despite the negative buzz, though, Ham is predicting the attraction will draw as many as 2 million people in its first year. There's nothing in this article about a controversy.
Yeah.
But yet, the news media is saying it's a controversy. So, interesting.
You know what I found in the news business? You know what I have found? The more controversy, the better. It just drives up ratings.
Yeah, but if this was a 10-story tall, life-size dinosaur from 10 million years ago, wouldn't be any controversy.
No.
But you've got something from a book that's been one of the most documented, scientifically proven true books in the history of mankind. Somebody wants to recreate, and it's, quote, a controversy. So, hey, we are talking about liberal media here, so we do not want to let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Gotcha. I understand. So we're going to cut away to a break here in just a moment, David, and when we come back, we'll have James Scaife here, who is the owner of CompuStation in Red Bank. He is our IT professional, keeps us going strong, and we will have James here talking about all your computer worries and what you can do to fix them. And we have a coupon in the Ledger app. We're going to use the Ledger app right now in order to let people know about what's going on with this fire. But James has also got a coupon in the app. You can get a lot of coupons there in our app for different services, and James has got one there for computer cleaning, spyware, adware, malware cleaning. You can drop it off over there and get a $20 discount by using the app in the Ledger, or the coupon in the Ledger app. So we'll be back from break in just a moment. Here's a break and a little commercial from our friends at B&L Automotive. When we come back, we'll have James Scaife here from CompuStation.
Hey, this is Paul with the Southwest Lexington Ledger. You know, for months now, we've been telling you all about B&L Auto Parts just outside of South Congaree in West Columbia. Today, I want to tell you, they've got a car for everybody. This lot is absolutely full of cars. But hey, don't take my word for it. Let's ask some actual customers who bought cars here at B&L Auto Parts. My name is Butch. I bought me a work van at B&L. So I like to work. I get up early and I go to work. I work through lunch. I work late in the evening. Then I go home. I go to bed. I dream about going to work. Buy a work van, B&L. Hey, my name is Brad. Me and Karen, we got a lot of kids. We go a lot of places. So we came and got us a sensible minivan at B&L. You know, we got a lot of places to go. We got to go to soccer. We got to go to band. We got to go to Boy Scouts. Then we go home. We get ready to go again tomorrow.
Hello,
come
my
by
name
B&L.
is Robert, and Mother and I bought a sensible Buick. We drive it to church on Sunday. Occasionally we go get groceries, and of course bridge. Oh, and occasionally bingo. We love our car from B&L.
Hey, I'm Scooter. Went to B&L, bought me a sports car. Gonna go by the mall, pick up the babes, have a good time. Bada bing, bada boom. You know what I mean? Hey, this is Vinny. Uncle Tony sent me down to B&L. Buy a car with a big trunk, you know? But sometimes we need a big trunk, if you know what I mean. We bought our trunk. Okay, you heard it. Personal testimonials from customers who have bought here at B&L. So now you come by and pick out the car that you need. Great terms, great financing, on-the-lot financing. Hey, they're the home of last chance credit. Stop by and see B&L Automotive today.
Good morning, Lexington County. This is Paul Kirby with the Good Morning Lexington County and Sheely's PDQ Morning Show, coming to you live from 1251 Main Street in South Congaree with all the news that is the news about Lexington County. We cover Lexington County because it's the place we live and love. And we thank you for being with us. We are going to bring you up to date on a few things before we get with our first guest this morning. First of all, there is a working structure fire on Brooks Street in the town of Batesburg, Leesville. Firefighters are on the scene fighting fire. They have pulled hose lines to supply water from fire hydrants so that will block off that area. Now that is off of 178 in the Batesburg, Leesville area. So be careful of that. You can keep up with things like that by downloading the Ledger app. And you can find that at Google Play or Apple App Store by simply searching the Southwest Lexington Ledger or Paul Kirby. It will give you updates on things like working structure fires, weather events, major road blockages, but you can also get coupons and good deals for Privilege Pharmacy, for CompuStation, for Captain D's, and other businesses as well. So please download the Ledger app and keep that so that you can keep informed. And we want to thank all our sponsors. We've been telling you about for a long time about Privilege Pharmacy over in Springdale. Privilege Pharmacy Springdale is behind the Bojangles at Whiteland and Platte Springs Road. It is in a little strip shopping center there. It's a small independent pharmacy that offers free delivery to all of their customers. It's absolutely fast, and the delivery is free. I have timed the people who walk in with a prescription, and from the time you walk in the door to the time you leave with your filled prescription is between 7 and 10 minutes. Now, in most big box stores, you can't even turn your prescription in 7 to 10 minutes, and we're talking about turning it in, getting it filled, and leaving with it in hand. You get fast, immediate contact with the pharmacist if you'd like to ask a question without having to wait or being corralled into a line or a stall. You simply walk up to the window and ask your question. And if you have insurance, your deductible is the same at Privilege Pharmacy and all small independent pharmacies as they are if you're at a large big box pharmacy. So don't be treated like an animal or a number. Go to Privilege Pharmacy in Springdale and see them today. Tell them the Ledger sent you. That's right next door to Time Warner and also behind the Bojangles at Platte Springs Road and Whiteland Road in the town of Springdale. Now we're back with James Scaife, who is the owner and a computer expert at CompuStation in Red Bank. And James is also our IT professional here at the Ledger. And James keeps our computers up and running sharp. And James, we're glad you're here because we have computer questions for you today.
Well, I'm going to try and answer them. I'm far from an expert, but I'll give you my advice.
You know, I understand and know a little bit about your history, but you're like most men were when they were kids. They like to take things apart. The only difference with you is you got them to put back together.
Most of the time, probably. Most of the time.
I'll never forget, my dad used to fuss about us taking apart his flashlight, and back then it was the old telephones that had the receiver with the curly cord, and we would take those kind of things apart. But oftentimes we weren't able to get them back together. But you started by taking those kind of things apart. What really got you interested in things machinery and mechanical?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I'm just a kind of a logical person, likes to, figure out, I guess, the back end. You've got everything you look at today in today's society, monitors. I mean, everything. We're sitting here looking at keyboards, phones that you wonder how they're put together, and you can't always go and learn from the factory or from anybody how it's put together. But if you take it apart, then you see from the front, backwards, how it comes apart, and then you can learn at that point how it goes back together. So you kind of have a working knowledge of how to put things together, kind of like an assembly line or a factory would have at their place.
Well, now were computers part of your life, James, from as long as you can remember, or do you remember the advent of computers like I do? I remember in the early 90s when I started writing, when the fire station got its first computer in 92, 93, something like that. I remember the first one I ever saw in the 80s was a Tandy computer that somebody brought to the fire station, and if you sit there and type for an hour and a half a certain code, it would take your name and ping pong it back across the screen.
That's right.
Do you remember them from your youngest day, or?
Well, it depends on how you define youngest. I do. I remember them. When I say youngest, my high school days. That's when I got interested, because we started writing there, the computer language basic that you're talking about, with the DOS prompt and so on and so forth.
Right.
And
the old green screen.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what got me interested. I knew right then I wanted to learn about computers. But back then in the 80s, they didn't have personal computers where you could learn how to work on them, how to fix them, and all that. So kind of like you, I had to do the programming language. So when I got out of high school and then into tech, I took programming, but I'm ADHD, so sitting still for more than 2 or 3 minutes, I can't do. So programming wasn't for me. An interesting language, and I loved it, but I need to be doing something different, every so often, just to keep my attention span going.
Well, now that brings to mind the next point that I wanted to make, and that is there are several pieces, parts, systems that come together to make a computer and make it work. And one of them is the program or software, and then there's hardware. So explain the difference, James, to folks that are not real familiar with it, what the difference between software and hardware is, and how the two work hand in hand to make a computer system work.
Well, the software is the GUI, the graphical user interface that you see on the computer. Windows itself, or if you're a Mac person, the Mac OS, the operating system, is the software. And then you've got the programs on it like Microsoft Office, QuickBooks, Quicken, anything like that is the program itself. And that interacts with the hardware to make the computer itself. The hardware is the resources behind it that allow it to operate, and the software is the avenue in which you get to the internet or write your checks out, or keep your accounting, or write a Word document or a spreadsheet or something like that. So your software side is more of what you see more than the hardware, but I guess they have to go hand in hand. You have to have one for the other. So the hardware side is your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, your tower itself, and that's what powers, kind of like a vehicle. You're driving it, but the engine powers it, and I guess the software is the engine that. The hardware is the engine that powers it, but the software is the actual what you see on the outside.
Well, to use an analogy in relationship to a person, hardware is like hands, feet, head, whereas software is almost like the soul of a person. Is it not? The part that actually you really can't put your hands on it, but it works and makes it all work together.
That's right. Yeah.
So you have those two parts that work intricately together. Now, software has come a long way from the time that we were talking about writing enough code, 4 or 5 pages worth of code to make a name bounce across a screen. Right. But of course, Microsoft is one of the world's best known software company. But what other companies make software, and are there areas of software, for instance? Is it any more word processing versus desktop publishing versus accounting, or is it all kind of coming together nowadays?
They all interact together, like QuickBooks, Quicken, and all that. If you want to take, your register, the old days where you and I grew up, we actually.
You're talking about check register.
That's right. You and I grew up writing in a check register. Walmart $20, ATM $10, so on and so forth. And now the software is on the computer, everybody just types it in, keeps it nice and neatly. Well, if they ever want to export that, it automatically exports to an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV, comma separated value. And so they do work hand in hand. Word and Excel and all, you can do mail merges with, which then go, your printer, so you can send out mailings. So yeah, all of the software is separate, but they're making it where everything works together nowadays. Just for the ease of not having to buy one program to do this, one program to do that. The more that you can make your program do, the more people are going to want to buy that versus having to buy yours at $500 versus 2 or 3 smaller ones that do what yours does for $350. So the more yours can do, the higher price you can charge because it interacts with everything.
I got you. Now let's talk about the hardware itself for a moment. I know there's some key pieces, and see if you can explain these pieces and kind of how they interact with the other parts. You've got a hard drive, you've got RAM, you've got a modem, you said the word tower a while ago. These are all pieces and parts that come together to make a computer. What does each one do as simply as you can put it, and how do they work together?
Well, let's start with the simplest one, a modem. That one doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, so there's no modems anymore. That used to be the communication device.
Yeah, that used to be the way to the internet and the way to BBSs, bulletin board systems. Those were the old technology, and that's the way people used to get to the internet. Was a modem, which is modulate, demodulate, which is what modem stands for. But it would dial up, and that's where you got to turn dial.
And that was all that squeaky whale talk sound.
And now everybody, I'd say 95, 98% probably has high-speed internet, which is with the Ethernet cable. But the modem, the hard drive, the RAM, motherboard, CPU, all of those are just pieces, parts that all go in there to make it work. The necessary parts that you have to absolutely have: your motherboard, you have to have; your processor, you have to have. The processor is what actually, for simplistic terms, processes all of your information. Your RAM is random access memory, and what that does, again, you have to have that piece. Those 3 pieces are a must. The hard drive itself is, again, another part that's a must because that's where all your information, your operating system, and all that is stored. So you have to have all of those to even think about working. CD-ROM is only a must if you want to install programs from a CD or if you want to burn CDs or something like that. A lot of your newer slim line computers are not coming with CDs anymore. They're trying to keep everything compact, lightweight. They're not coming there. So a CD is not a necessity. Of course, your monitor, you have to have keyboard, mouse, so on and so forth. Again, the processor is what processes. The faster your processor, the faster you can access data and manipulate data. That interacts with what's called your RAM, your random access memory. As you open a program up, it goes into your RAM, and that's where it's stored while you're using it. When you close it down, it comes back out, it goes back into the hard drive, and you can use that RAM for something else. The more RAM you have mixed with the higher processor, that's where your speed comes from.
So processor speed is important, and they come in different speeds?
Correct.
And RAM size is important, but they come in different sizes?
That's right.
And motherboard, now what does it do?
The motherboard is the glue that keeps it all together.
So it's kind of like the skeleton.
That's right. The motherboard is the brains, so to speak, that tell the processor and the RAM and the hard drive how to interact and when to interact and what to pull from where and keep and save and so on and so forth.
So if we have a computer, James, that's running slowly, when I started and I would click to open Windows, or I would click between windows, and click between programs when I'm multitasking, doing more than one job at a time. When I started, it was very fast. Now, over the years, it's become very slow. It takes a long time. There could be any one of those parts that's causing that, or several parts that's causing that. Is that correct?
Two main parts, again, your RAM and your CPU. But beyond or before that, I would say before hardware, if you've got a computer that you've had that when you bought brand new worked perfect and now it doesn't over years, my guess is it's more of a software issue than a hardware issue. my guess is you've installed and uninstalled programs and the registry's gotten corrupt or, you know, bad information in there and it doesn't know how to process it. So when you tell it to open a window, the registry is where everything is stored on how to open Word, how to open Excel, how to open QuickBooks, how to open Quicken, how to open up the internet, how to manage between windows and so on and so forth. On top of, over the years, you could have gotten spyware, virus, and stuff like that. And all of those, the installation and uninstallation of programs and stuff like that, and spyware viruses are going to slow your computer down more than hardware. Hardware typically is not, and I say typically, hardware is typically not your source of a bad computer or slow computer.
Okay.
It's typically software related. It's rare that hardware goes bad. Now, I'm not saying it never goes bad, but it's rare, especially RAM, CPU. Hard drives, that's where your information is stored. It's used more than everything else. Those typically can go bad. But again, those you'll know they're going bad because you're going to get blue screens. You're going to start losing where you can't even turn your computer on. It'll say, you know, boot sector not found or so on and so forth. So you're slow, sluggish like that. That to me is software related, not hardware related.
So if it's a software problem, it's not that the machine maybe can't overcome it. It's just having to figure out how to overcome it, and that takes time, and that's why it's slowed down.
That's right.
So it's running into something that it doesn't like, it doesn't understand, and it's got to go through a thought process to figure that out.
That's correct.
I got you. So
And it's not human, so it doesn't know to remember, you know, just like coming here, you know, the bridge is still out down here on Rambo. I know tomorrow that bridge is still going to be out. I know that I need to take a shortcut. The computer is not a human, so it doesn't remember that bridge is out. It has to see that every time that bridge is out, come back, take the other way around, and so that's why it doesn't learn like human. It's not artificial intelligence. It just knows each time you tell it to go that way, that's the quickest route. It finds out that the bridge is out and it comes back around.
all right, so we've got all these pieces, parts left on there. Perhaps maybe we've taken some programs on. You know, my kids are terrible putting a game on there that I don't want on my computer. Now I'm going to take it off. Does it always just all come off, or does it leave little pieces, parts?
Always
there?
leaves residue. There's no program that's going to go on and come off perfectly every time.
And so those little residues can cause problems with my
right.
speed of my computer.
That's right.
And so I've got that, and then anytime I crank up my computer and I connect it to the internet, it's like opening a door to your house. I mean, things can sneak in.
You're just letting everything in. That's right.
And so that
you don't
cause.
even have to open the internet. Again, as we were talking before with the dial-up versus now with high-speed internet, the second you turn that computer on, you're on the internet. You may not
So
have,
that door is open the minute I power it.
Yeah, you may not have Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox, Opera, or anything open as the avenue to get there, but you're connected and the internet is open. So there are hackers out there that are running programs that are looking for IP addresses and all that. They may have found yours already without you opening up any kind of window.
And so pieces can sneak in that way. And then when I buy other things, I mean, every time I seem to plug in a new printer, or I plug in a new phone, or occasionally I'll plug in an external hard drive, or even my camera, James. I connect my digital camera. It all seems to want to install software, so it's all putting pieces, parts.
Yeah, it installs drivers at the minimum.
And those parts can slow me down too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, the drivers are related to what's called DLLs, dynamic link libraries, which go in and write stuff in the registry and tell it again. The registry is the glue that keeps everything together. It tells it what to interact with, how to interact, and stuff like that. So when you start putting stuff in and it starts writing to the registry and stuff like that, that's where your problems come in.
So now, James, if I've got this thing and that suddenly is just taking forever to do anything, I brought you one time because I keep a lot of tabs open in my browser because we do so many different things, check the weather and the traffic and those kind of things during the morning program, and it was moving very slow. What do you do if it's done this now and it's moving slow? How do we get it cleaned up and straightened out, and how can you do that?
What we normally do is we just wipe it completely clean. We first off take a copy of the hard drive and copy it to one of ours. So we'll make sure our hard drive plugs in and looks just like yours did when you brought it to us, so we don't lose any of your data. And then we take your hard drive and we just format it completely and wipe it as if it were brand new. So there's no information It finds out if there's any bad sectors on the hard drive. It looks for bad sectors. It looks for everything, any other problems that there may be on the hard drive as it's doing this. Once that's done, then we reload Windows and we put all the drivers that you need for your video card and your sound card, your network card, any other devices that you may have added to the computer or on the computer. Install those to make sure all of that equipment is working. And then we install your programs back fresh, whether it's Word, Excel, Office itself, Adobe, any kind of Adobe Creative Suites, or any kind of QuickBooks or anything like that. And then we put the antivirus on there, and then we move your data back over so we don't bring any kind of viruses or anything else back over.
Well, now, James, when I bought things like QuickBooks and Adobe programs, I got a key code with them that allowed me, that says, hey, I paid for this and I can use it.
That's right.
But maybe I can't find that key code now, but you just took it off and now you're putting it back on. What do I do? Do I have to repay for them again?
No, typically we have programs that will grab the key codes from your big software. We can get your QuickBooks key codes, we can get your Office key codes. Typically we can get your Adobe Creative Suite key codes with the program that we run. There's several different programs out there, but they'll pull the key codes off so we can legally install it back on there for you because you already have paid for that software.
Yeah, because some of them are very expensive. I mean, my QuickBooks is rather expensive. I use a Dragon voice to type, so that's kind of expensive, and I have a key code for that. But again, but now another thing, James, that's just happened in the last, seems to me like the last 4 or 5 years, that used to never happen was, and that's a lot of your software seems to now be internet based. We don't actually have a copy. So how does that work? And is it a better idea to use it that way?
You're gonna have a lot of people disagree, I think, with me. I don't like it. I don't.
So you'd rather have a copy of QuickBooks on a disk or have bought a copy on your PC than to have it to a cloud base somewhere.
That's right. And I think maybe the public will agree. And the reason I say that is, you've got your different versions of Office. 2003. I mean, it started way before then, but 2003 goes to 2007, goes to 2010. And then it went to 2013, and after 2013, it went to what they call 365. Office 365 means 365 days a year, but you're paying for that service for 365. The other years I mentioned, you own. The 365, you pay yearly for that service, and you keep getting their upgrades. So as they made better improvements, so on and so forth. The reason I say more people may agree than I think is because now they've come back out with Office 2016, which is a hard copy. It's not a yearly subscription. You pay again your $300 or $400 or $500 for it, and you own it. So cloud-based has its place, but I would rather know. I'm not a big proponent of leasing their software, leasing their equipment. I want to own it. I want to pay one time for it. I want it to be mine. I'm kind of selfish that way.
So basically, buying it in that way is this is purchase versus lease, which is where you're getting it cloud-based and it updates whenever, and you get a certain amount of licenses per lease. Okay, so I got that. Now, we've got all this working together, James, and we've taken a computer to you. You've basically wiped it out. You've reformatted the hard drive. You've loaded it all back. Now, you said something about drivers. Explain what drivers are and why they're so important.
Drivers are the tool, the information that the computer connects to the piece of hardware. So you have a sound card. You want your YouTube, your whatever to come out of your computer, your music to play out of your computer. It has to have that avenue to get there. So the computer has a sound card in it, but if Windows doesn't see, and again, this is where the hardware and software work together. If Windows doesn't see the driver, just like you're talking about your printer, your phone, and everything you add, your camera and everything else. If Windows doesn't see the driver, the way the utility to get to that device, they're never going to work. So a driver is simply a piece of software that is in Windows itself that says, hey, this piece of hardware does this when you click this or when you do this. So that's what a driver is it's just another piece of software in there written for that specific piece of device, your keyboard, your mouse. All of that has a simple driver in there to tell it what its function is and how it functions.
It used to be, James, every time I would buy a new keyboard, a mouse or something like that, that I would have to put in a disk and download drivers. It seems like nowadays I'm not having to do that. Why is it? I mean, I plug in my phone and it says it's getting drivers from somewhere.
That's right. That's what I was talking about earlier with all of your newer programs interacting with everything else. You know, being QuickBooks and being able to export to Excel and you know, your mail merge and stuff like that. Windows is you know, Microsoft and Mac are getting to where they're intelligent enough to know that they have to make it easy for us dummies. The easier it is, the more people are going to use it. So you know, you may have these. You've got other operating systems out there that people don't know about, Ubuntu, you know, stuff like that. But they're not big yet because they didn't take the stand like Microsoft and Mac. But to get back to your original question, Microsoft and Mac are now are integrating all of these devices in their operating system with their drivers built into the operating system. So 90% of what you buy today is going to have a driver already in there. Or if it doesn't, as they come up with new devices, you know, the iPhone 7 is about to come out in September-ish, they're going to get with Apple and they're going to say, hey, let us have these drivers, and you'll see as your computer wants to do updates and all, that's what those updates are on. Sometimes they're security updates, but a lot of times they're new drivers and stuff like that for new devices that are coming out. So you don't have to install that CE, that you just stick it in there, plug it in there, it's called plug and play, and then you're done.
James, we're going to take just a break to cover a few of our sponsors, and when we come back, I want to talk about buying a new computer and a computer system and how to make sure that you get what you pay for and also get what you need. But first, I want to tell you about a few of our sponsors. Don't forget about our good friend Bobby Jeffcoat, who will be here tomorrow at 7:45 from Jeffcoat's Garage with the Mechanics Minute. Jeffcoat's Garage has been in South Hungary for over 40 years. They're at 1051 Main Street, across from the Dollar General. Major or minor repairs, everything from an oil change to engine replacement. Anything you want or need, they can do to your automobile. Don't take the chance. Let Bobby Jeffcoat do it. He's ASE certified. He knows what he's talking about, and he can give you the truth and the honest, hard facts about what you need for your car. You can call Bobby to make an appointment at 955-9890, or simply stop by Jeffcoat's Garage at 1051 Main Street in South Hungary. And don't forget, this coming Saturday is the opening of Silly's Snowballs at 786 Main Street in South Hungary. 100 gourmet flavor, more than 100 gourmet flavors. Starting this Saturday, you can go in and enjoy a snowball. That's at 786 Main at the corner of Ramblin' and Main in South Hungary. And then the 16th from 10 a.m. to 2, lots of fun activities because it's a grand opening of Silly Snowballs, and all snowballs will be half price. Now, a good friend of mine asked me yesterday, Paul, where can I find an inflatable for my granddaughter's birthday? It's inflatables or bouncy houses or bouncy castles, are they better known for, are a lot of fun, and they're all the rage nowadays. And there's one place that you can go and find them all, and that's the Inflatable Zone at 5569 Platte Springs Road in Lexington, next to the White Mill High School football stadium. Not only do they have all kinds of inflatables, I think they have more than 20 inflatables, including combos, bouncers, obstacle courses, slides, but they also have the party zone. Now, the party zone is a building where they set up, they clean up, they do it all right there. You have the bouncy houses and the inflatables in the backyard. There's picnic tables. They can even do all the cooking there, provide things like cake, and you go and simply pay one price and they do it all. And then at the end of the party, you go home and they clean up the mess. So that's the way to go. Call Allison at 843-680-2297. Allison, 843-680-2297. Now, some of you have always said, Paul, you're going too fast. We can't keep up with all these numbers. There's a simple solution for that. You just go to the ledger and find my phone number. That is 803-587-3144, or hit the Contact Us tab, and I'll give you any phone number that you need, including James Scase at CompuStation. James builds our computers here at the Ledger, and he maintains them. And we've been talking about how to keep your computer up and running properly and making sure that it's working correctly. And it's just like any other machine. It requires maintenance. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But right now I want to talk about buying a new machine. And James, first of all, people don't consider going to a place like CompuStation to buy equipment. They go to Walmart and they say, well, you can get a new computer for $325, and you can go to Best Buy and you can get one for a few $100s. What's the difference between buying an off-the-shelf budget computer at a place like that and what you would get if you go to James at CompuStation and buy your machine from him?
Well, I guess in a nutshell, the biggest difference is service. You know, they're going to use, there are only certain manufacturers out there. That's just like a car. You know, you're either going to get a GM, you're going to get a Ford, you're going to get a Volkswagen, you're going to get a Volvo, but there are different dealers that sell them. The ones that are all these inexpensive ones at Walmart, Best Buy, stuff like that. They're using the same parts, but I think they're mass produced so quickly. I think you have some issues with them, not necessarily a lot, but some because of the way they're mass produced. I use the same hardware as them. You only have a handful of hard drive manufacturers: Western Digital, Hitachi, Seagate, so on and so forth. So I use the same hardware as they use, but again, what you're going to get is service. You're going to get the knowledge that I have to tell you, what's good, what's bad, and to be honest about it. I mean, I don't have a deal. Best Buy may have a deal with HP that they buy, $150,000 worth of their computers, and they get a real good deal on it. So they're going to push HP that time because that's where their kickbacks are. I don't have that. I simply tell you what I feel over the years is the best equipment for the best price, and then I stand behind what I sell and I service what I sell. You're going to have your Walmarts and your Best Buys that don't. Best Buy claims they do, but they'll send theirs most of the time up to Charlotte or wherever to their own factory or whatever to get it repaired. Where I'm going to repair it here locally, I'm going to be able to answer your questions over the phone free of charge and help you out. That's going to be your biggest difference is service.
James, the one thing that I like about coming to you for a computer especially, there are several reasons that I'd rather buy them from you, but one especially is all the free stuff that they say they're giving you on a computer, which is just a limited edition that seems to bog me down, confuse my computer, and aggravate me. And you can't, oftentimes, they make it where you can't get rid of it. I buy a new computer and I go to Walmart and buy a $325 computer for my kids for Christmas, and it's got a limited edition QuickBooks. It's got a limited edition, 3 different kinds of virus skins that really none of them seem to work. They got a limited edition this, they got a limited edition that, and it just is stuff that I don't want, I don't need, it gets in my way, it frustrates me, and all it really is an advertisement to buy a very high-priced product. So, I mean, why do they do that, and how are you able not to do that?
Well, again, if you and we get them from all over the place. People will buy them from Walmart, and a week later bring them in because they have problems because there's nowhere to take them. They'll take brand new ones that they get from Best Buy, and Best Buy can't fix it, so they'll bring it to us. So we see what comes on there, and they're getting to the manufacturers again: Gateway, Compaq, HP, and they're partnering with them. And you'll see a lot of times on brand new computers coming from these places that it'll have the Geek Squad shortcut on their computer because that's advertisement that they've gotten in with HP or whoever to put on there, and they do it again for a kickback. If they're allowed to put their name on their product, they're going to pay less for it, or it's their advertisement that you were talking about. I don't have a partner. Again, I don't have a partner with any of those people. So I'm able to just stick Windows Fresh on there with nothing else but Windows and the drivers you need and nothing else.
We're going to take just a break to tell you there are several accidents that just popped up. One at I-20 at the 56th East. That's right. 56th East is going to be just to the east side or the Columbia side of number 6 Highway or South Lake Drive. That's between number 1 Highway and Highway 6 or South Lake Drive. I-26 East in the Columbia lanes. And then we also have one at South Lake Drive and Edmond Highway. That's right in the community of Edmond at the Circle K or the old Kent's Corner. Both of these have just popped up. Both of them are showing no injuries but could cause traffic problems. So please keep those kind of things in mind. Watch for that. And also remember the fire that is going on in the Batesburg-Leesville area off of Brook Street. That's out 178 towards the Saluda County line. There are fire hoses stretched in the road there, and firefighters are doing work, so please keep that in mind. We're here with James Scaife from CompuStation. James, we're talking about buying new computers. I come into your store and I say, James, I want a new computer. What's the first thing you're going to ask me?
What do you use it for?
That's always important, isn't it? If I'm just going to get on the internet and that's all I'm going to do, I'm going to check out the newspaper and my wife's going to do a little shopping at Amazon. Is that going to be one computer versus if I'm going to use it at work for accounting and page layouts and those kind of things?
Absolutely. That's going to dictate a lot of your price with, again, how much RAM you want, what size processor you want, whether you want a standard hard drive or a solid state hard drive for speed. The use is going to be a big decision on how much money you're going to spend.
How shareable is a machine? I'm a businessman that I'm going to use my computer to look at the internet. I'm going to do some business accounting on it. I'm going to do a little bit of desktop publishing because we're going to put out the ledger, and we're going to do a lot of word processing because we're writing stories. And then I've got a child at home that likes to play interactive games with a kid down the street over the internet. How shareable is that machine, and is that a good idea?
I was going to answer your second question first. No, it's not. It's not. Sharing is a good idea. If you're talking about 4 users at home, you, your wife, 2 kids, that's fine. If you're talking about running it for a business and letting your kids on it, not a good idea. Again, only for the safety of your information, that the kids may allow something to come in that is going to lock your computer up, or possibly put a virus on it that's going to just encrypt it where you can't get anything off. So sharing at home alone, a good idea, yes. Sharing at work with a couple of users, a good idea, yes. Home versus business, I don't think those two mix.
I'm a father and a grandfather, and I've got a pool in my yard, and I live in Pekin, and it's sandy. And the last few days, James, it's been 100+ degrees. Of course, because we live in Pekin, we got gnats and flies. I mean, it's the state bird of Pekin is the fly.
That's right.
And so I always think about kids using the computer in this way. When I'm sitting in my chair at home in the evening after I've come home from a hard day at work, it seems like every second I'm saying, close the back door, you're letting the flies in. My grandchild comes in and she decides she wants a drink, and apparently it's just too hard to close the back door. Well, using that computer to play internet games with somebody down the street, constantly having kids on there, and especially when they're downloading games and apps and those kind of things, it's pretty much like leaving the back door standing open, isn't it?
That's right.
So flies can come in the form of viruses and things that I don't want, and they're pretty hard to chase out, just like flies are hard to chase out of my house.
They are, and to be fair, there are games and there are programs that are online that are legit, legal, and don't let things in. But nowadays, kids, and I've got them as well, but they're trying to find the cheapest, easiest, fastest way to get things, and that's where your problems come into. Instead of doing your Xbox 360 and paying for the online service and knowing everything's legit, they like to go find these back doors, these hacker sites that allow them to get movies for free or music for free or whatever. And again, as you and I have learned with our parents, nothing in life is free.
Yeah. So the cheaper or the freer it is, probably the more suspect it can be.
That's right.
Okay. So now. I understand that, for instance, you used to have a young man that helped us a lot that worked for you, but that was super big into gaming and high-speed computers. So a gaming computer really needs to be built differently than my desktop for what I'm doing here at work?
Absolutely, because you have multi-core processing where gaming comes into play. Your graphics are just 100 times better. I mean, right now we're looking at just internet or a commercial or something like that that's just not as graphical as say a World of Warcraft or something like that, the Clash of Titans or Clash of Clans, whatever it is. I'm not a gamer, but those take a lot of graphics. The higher the graphics card, the more power you need, so you need a larger power supply. Then you're going to need a larger processor. You're going to need a lot more RAM, so your price is going to increase, and you're going to get a gaming system for $1,500, $2,000. You're going to get a small business system for $600 to $800. You're going to get a home system for $400 to $500, $600.
Well, here's another one that we're talking about buying, and this is one that could start a lot of controversy because it's basically the Ford versus Chevy question, Mac versus Windows-based PC.
The advantage years ago over Mac versus Windows is viruses, because there weren't as many Macs out there. So the people that were writing viruses, you write a virus to get your name out there. So, if there's only 500,000 people in America that have Macs, you're not going to have the notoriety as 2.5 million people or 2.5 billion people that have Windows. Now that Mac is starting to take over more and more, and they're still not equivalent to Windows OS, but they're getting there. they're starting to write viruses for them. On top of that, Mac now is also becoming dual boot, meaning you can boot into Mac OS and you can boot into Windows. And they're starting to put Intel processors in the Macs. So once you integrate Intel processor with Windows operating system, you have no difference.
So your Mac may be a PC, except it's just got a bigger price tag on it.
Right.
And that is now, you know, it used to be, James, that folks that were doing any kind of great graphics work, for instance, publishers, newspaper people that did a lot of Adobe Photoshop, swore by Macs. Is that still the case today?
That's still your bar, so to speak. The Mac is definitely your bar for graphics and stuff like that. Adobe coming out with the suite for for Microsoft and stuff like that. Now people are using PCs, but I agree with you. I still think Mac is the standard for your word your graphics, your word publishing and stuff like that.
All right, so it depends on. I come in. I said, James, I want to buy a computer. You're going to say, first of all, what am I going to do with it?
That's right.
How big a part does budget play into it?
Well, I mean, budget's the biggest part. If you want a business computer and you want to run, games and you want to do this and you only have a $300 budget, you can't have them both. I mean, budget's going to be the biggest part. I mean, first of all, that's what I ask people is, what are you going to use it for? And once they lay that out for me, I, in my mind, already know what kind of processor, what kind of RAM, what kind of hard drive and stuff like that. Then I ask them, what's your budget on this? And then that dictates, in my mind, if I've already set them at like a Core i5 processor and 8 gigs of RAM and a solid state hard drive, and then they say, well, I only have $500, I immediately go, okay, what can I take out of there or drop down, losing the minimum amount of speed, but getting the best amount of money out of it. And so budget is an equal part as much as what do you use it for.
All right, now, next question. Desktop versus laptop. When I started, everything was desktop. Then we got some laptops. Now we got lots of laptops, and now it's ended up in your pocket and you can carry it around with you all day long.
That's right.
So tell me the advent of where it is now, desktops versus laptop, and then where we're going.
Well, again, the advantage is portability for a laptop versus a desktop that you have to leave where it sits. I carry a laptop with me 24/7. I don't use a laptop 24/7. I still want my desktop because I want the bigger monitor. I want multiple monitors. I want to be able to access everything right there on my desk, but I have to have a laptop so when I go to businesses to troubleshoot or whatever, I've got my laptop there. Some people can work off of a laptop and they're perfectly fine with the size. I think it just comes down to, for me, it comes down to size. And again, if your business is sales and you're on the road 24/7, it's a no-brainer. You have to have a laptop. But if you're in an office environment, whether you have a laptop or whether you have a desktop, most people in the office are going to want a lot larger monitor anyway. Your monitors now for laptops are 17-inch. Most people want a 24, 27, 32-inch monitor for the size, and you can't get that on a laptop. So you're still going to have more desktops than laptops, but again, it's going to be the application use, whether you're on the road a lot or whether you're sitting at your desk a lot.
All right, we got just a few minutes left, but let me ask you this. How about docking a laptop? How about making the laptop your desktop by simply using, every laptop I buy right now, I'll always buy an external keyboard and mouse because I don't like a laptop. Can't stand a touchpad.
That's right.
I just almost don't use the touchpad, and I don't like the small keyboard. So how about docking your laptop and making it do both?
Well, and you're using old technology, old terminology. The kids nowadays don't even know what a docking station is. But yeah, you're right. The old time, you used to have a docking station where everything was plugged in, your keyboard, your mouse, your printer, and you just simply docked it in there and everything was plugged in. Nowadays, everything is coming wireless. Your printers are wireless. Your keyboard and mouse is wireless, so you just leave your little dongle plugged in. The only thing you really have to plug into a laptop if you want to use it as a desktop at your office is speakers and monitor for the most part, and then of course your Ethernet cable, and then that connects you to your network printers if they're not wireless and everything else. So you really don't have any docking stations anymore, but you do sort of dock it, and yeah, I mean, a keyboard, mouse, external monitor and all, that's perfect. So,
So
that
you
will
just
give you the best
walk
of both
in,
worlds.
plug it in, and use it as a desktop.
That's right.
And then unplug it and take it with
Take
you.
it
when
with
you
you,
go.
that's right.
So you, best of both worlds if you don't have the money to buy the two.
That's right, and the only other advantage of a desktop versus a laptop is upgradability and working on it. Desktops are pretty much individual parts because the laptop is so small. 90% of everything there is integrated. You can upgrade your RAM most of the time and your hard drive. Short of that, you can't upgrade anything else. You can't pull your CD out, put a new one in, upgrade it to a DVD burner, change this, change that. It's all integrated. So your advantage of a desktop, one piece breaks, it's easier to fix it than a laptop.
We run out of time, and we appreciate James being here. James, I hope we'll come back and do this regularly as people begin to follow the program more often. You can find a coupon for malware, spyware, adware cleaning. You simply drop your machine off to James over in Red Bank and show them the coupon, and they'll give you $20 off of that service, which I believe is an $85 service, and the coupon's $65, takes it down to $60, something like that.
Yeah, you between $65, $97, $50, depending on what you have done.
Yeah, but James, tell them how they can find you, what your number is, the best way to reach you is, and where they can locate CompuStation.
We are near I-20 and Highway 6, about a mile down the South Lake Commons Shopping Center. You can reach us on the web, CompuStation.com, phone number 803-358-2385, and email address, you can do support@CompuStation.com, and through email or phone or anything like that, I'll be glad to answer questions. If I can help you over the phone or I can help you through email, we can remotely connect to your computer, and those are services we do not charge for. I'll remotely connect if I can and fix it online, won't charge you a penny. I'll answer your phone questions, your email questions, and I think that's what sets us apart from everyone else is those services, as long as I can keep it that way, will stay free for as long as I can.
And new equipment, software, repairs, peripheral stuff like keyboards, mice, all those kind of things can get right there at CompuStation. James, we appreciate you coming by. We hope that you'll do this regularly. I want to bring you up to date before we get a break on several things. The ones that we've been talking about now, that Carter on I-20 is just breaking loose right now. You've got an accident at the 56th East. You've got on I-20 at the 56th East. You've got one at South Lake Drive at Edmond Highway, an accident. You've got an accident at I-20 at the 58 East, and now at the 58 West. So as folks are having accidents in there, people are watching the accidents instead of where they're going. So that corner between number 1 Highway and South Lake Drive on I-20 is kind of becoming a big pile up. So let's watch that. Plenty of time, and continue to follow the Ledger and the Good Morning Lexington County and Chiles PDQ Morning Show. We'll be right back after a word from Greg Mosley at Mosley Freeman Home. Just a reminder that Greg will be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning to tell you the truth about what you need in funeral arrangements, including what the law says you have to have and what you don't have to have, and what a funeral should really cost. So we'll be right back after a word from Greg Mosley at Mosley Funeral and Cremation Service. Hey, this is Paul with the Ledger. Do you know the difference between someone that's friendly with you and someone that's true friend? Someone that's friendly with you provides you friendship as long as things are okay. A true friend, they're there when times are tough, when you really need them. Greg Mosley at Mosley's Funeral and Cremation Services, he's a true friend. Recently, someone that was close to me passed away. It was a family member, and the family decided to use a funeral home that they had used for years. They thought there were friends there. Turns out that funeral home had been sold to a big company that wasn't even based here in Columbia. It was out of state. We weren't real happy with the price. We weren't real happy with the service. We weren't real happy with the scheduling. A lot was done to when they could do it. Greg Mosley at Mosley's Funeral Home, he makes sure that he's serving you. It's important to him that things are done in your time. Things are done the way you want them. Greg will lose sleep until that happens. He makes sure that those kind of things happen. You need to call Greg Mosley the next time you need a true friend. The next time
somebody passes away unexpectedly, or somebody, perhaps an older family member passes away, let Greg tell you how he can help you. I'll put up the contact information on this video so you'll be able to find him. He's got a place on Meeting Street in West Columbia, one in the northeast area of Columbia itself. Call Greg Mosley and let him show you how he can become a good friend of your family also, especially when you need him most.
And I see you. So with everything I am, thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Lexington County. This is Paul Kirby and David Tanner with the Good Morning Lexington County and Sheely's PDQ Morning Show, coming to you live every weekday, 6 to 8:30. From Sheely's PDQ studio at 1251 Main Street in South Congaree. We bring you up to date with what's going on in Lexington County. And currently, right now, there's a lot of things happening on I-20. I-20 east at the 56, an accident. I-20 east at the 58, an accident. All between number 1 Highway and South Lake Drive. And then an accident is being cleaned up right now at South Lake Drive and Edmond Highway, or Highway 302. That is right at the Circle K and the old Kent's Corner there in the community of Edmond, right just to the west of where we are here in South Congaree. Weather right now, it's clear. We had a low this morning of 76 degrees. We're building to a high of 97 with afternoon thunderstorms, evening showers at times with some scattered thunderstorms, and a low of 78. Tomorrow, a high of 99 and thunderstorms in spots. So you can expect that from here on out. We'll be having that high humidity and heat building up to afternoon storms. Some of them will be very severe at times and scattered. Last night we had a number that knocked out traffic lights in portions of Lexington, and yet David said he had no rain on Muddy Springs Road in Red Bank, and they had some significant rain in other places, including here in South Congaree, where when we got here this morning there were still puddles standing in the parking lot. So I had pretty good rain at my house last night, David, for a short period of time. The problem is it's a downpour. It's not a long sustained rain, which is what we really need. So.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that water wasn't wet enough to penetrate.
That's right. I was teaching David a little bit about wet water yesterday, but yeah, the water wasn't quite wet. If it comes down too fast, it runs off too fast, and it does not soak in like we want it to. So we end up with mud puddles instead of with ground that's nice and evenly soaked.
We want that wet water. We don't want that dry water.
We don't want any dry water in this area. And you can see the significance of that in like Lexington yesterday, where they had the 5-acre woods fire off of Old Cherokee Road. And David, people here don't consider, they may look at wildland fires differently because they are different than out in the West, where you burn tens of thousands of acres at a time, but oftentimes they're very uninhabited, whereas here 5 acres is a significant wildland fire. And you have access problems because you have big pine trees and things like that, whereas out in the West they're burning, straw and very light, flashy fuels for a long period of time. So let's be careful out there. I still heard fireworks popping around my house last night until very late, and I think you're going to continue to see that for the next few days because people will have stuff left over, and people are just doing the silly things now that they shouldn't do. I know teenage kids at my house were finding those ones that didn't go off and trying to relight them, and that's so dangerous. And you have to supervise those children first, have to make them put them down and wet them. I don't put them down because if I put them down, they tend to find them again. So I normally try to wet them so that they can't use them. But we end up with people losing appendages because of that, and also setting fires. So, got several fires going on this morning. One at Brooks Avenue or Brooks Street in the Batesburg, Leesville area, off of 178, where they do have supply lines to the fire hydrants. So we want to keep that in mind and know that that's going on. David, we talked about the blowfish this morning. We talked about some of the news, including the fire yesterday afternoon on Lake Dogwood Drive in the 100 block. A house was damaged over there yesterday by a second alarm fire. In Lexington County, oftentimes a second alarm is simply transmitted or pulled, as they would say, to bring in more equipment or specialty equipment and extra manpower. And in the case yesterday, they were using a pond instead of fire hydrants, which takes another truck to pump the water out of the pond. And then they were also using tanker trucks, which robs significant amounts of manpower because you have to have a driver for each tanker, and he can't fight fire. So that was a second alarm transmitted for only a short time yesterday afternoon. And Lake Dogwood runs between West Dunbar and Platte Springs Road in the Three Fountains area of Lexington County, kind of behind the Taco Bell and Crossroads World Outreach. So
I'm glad you clarified that, because at my house, the second alarm means you slept through the first one.
You hit the snooze button one too many times. Yeah, sometimes I speak fire speak, and David has to bring me back to English. when I'm saying things that maybe the common man can't. What would you call it? Civilians, that's right.
Yeah, English. It's English.
English. Yeah, I have to speak English and not fire speak, but firefighting's a whole. Sheriff Coon invited me one time to go for a ride on the fireboat on the lake. I was doing a story about the fireboat, and the operator is a sergeant who has a great deal of experience fighting fire on land and on the water. And he and I began to fire speak on the boat, and Sheriff Coon looked at that time, John Allard, who was the public information officer for the Sheriff's Department. He said, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in a whole nother.
Yeah, I was writing some notes as you and James were talking this morning. I'm like, people are probably going, okay, that's very nice.
Well, I'm trying to. The point I was trying to make with James is find an expert.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's just find an expert.
Yeah.
And James is one of them. James does a great job, and you can go find James over there in Red Bank. And you know what I like about James too? He'll tell you what you need and not what he wants you to have. Have you ever noticed that about James?
Yeah. James will be out of business one day, and he'll be out of business because he gave too much stuff away and gave too much free advice. And I tell him that all the time.
Yes.
So go visit James and do all the business you can with him now while he's still in business, because.
Yeah, he does things with other computer companies. Like he'll warn you against a contract. He'll say, I'll sell you a contract to maintain your computer, but you don't need it. It's a bad idea. It's a bad investment on your part. Don't do it.
Yeah, he's a lot like me. He's brutally honest. If you don't want to know the truth, don't ask him.
Yeah. So
I didn't realize there was no modems anymore.
I had not heard that either. So
I'm laughing at some of these terms. He told you, to leave your dongle plugged in.
And I did not know that was the name of that.
That kind of meant something else to me, which we won't get into. He talked about the modem. To me, if my wife says, the weeds are getting high out there, and I go out and take care of it, that means I went out in my modem.
Yeah, you mowed them.
Now they're even with the grass.
Yes, that's right. I can see where you would definitely think that.
And then hard drive, I'm thinking Dale Earnhardt,
Yeah.
He was Mr. Hard Drive,
Hard drive is going from here to Daytona.
Yeah.
Without stopping to use the bathroom. That's a pretty hard.
Yeah. Motherboard. That's when my wife has to listen to this show.
That's when you're watching NASCAR on Sunday, and the mother is definitely bored.
Mother's bored. Yeah.
And then I imagine there was a motherboard at the Tanner House during the CCU College World Series.
Actually, no, because she's a baseball mom. She understands baseball. She actually watched a lot of it while I was sleeping through it. So
that's what a motherboard is. So anyway.
Yeah, it was fatherboard there. Not that I was bored, but man, once I kick back in that chair and put them feet up, it's over. It's over. If you leave the feet down, you're okay. But once you put the feet up,
speaking of fatherboard, I had laid down early the other day, and I got up, and my wife and my 13-year-old daughter were watching a Sally Fields movie on Lifetime Movie Network. Talk about fatherboard. Whew.
Sally Fields.
And I don't mean the Burt Reynolds age Sally Fields either. I mean the Sally Fields now in her 70s. So you're talking about fatherboard. Chick flick, Rocom or whatever you want to call it. It was not for me.
I can handle Rocom. I can't handle mostly row and a little com. It's got to be at least 50-50.
My term, ladies, you can stone me if you will, but my term for Lifetime Movie Network is Man Haters TV. There's always a bad man on there that's killed somebody or done something.
Oh yeah.
You can come home. You can come home from work and tell when your wife has been watching Lifetime.
I'm thinking Sally Fields. You were probably watching Hallmark and not Lifetime. I think Sally Fields is more Hallmark.
Maybe.
Lifetime is murder, divorce, cheating.
It's always the man.
Revenge. Yeah. He-Man woman haters.
Yeah.
It's like a Carrie Underwood song.
No, it's actually her man haters.
Yeah. She girl man haters. Yeah. It's like a Carrie Underwood, Miranda Lambert song all wrapped up into one.
There's one of those comedians that does a joke on Lifetime and did it on Oprah. Maybe he was not doing it. It was an Oprah joke, I believe. Because he said that he would know when his wife had watched Oprah that day. He would walk in, and as soon as he would walk in the house, she had these big eyes, and she was staring him up and down and pointing with her finger and goes, "I know what's wrong with you now." And he goes, "Did you watch Oprah today?"
Yeah.
That's the same kind of way with Lifetime. I
We,
suspect.
we have a female family member that likes drama. I mean, she lives off of drama.
Oh,
She
yeah.
thrives on drama. She's not happy unless she's got something to be unhappy about.
Yes.
Our nickname for her is Lifetime.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot going on in Lexington County, a lot coming up. This weekend is the grand opening of Silly's. Well, actually, it's not the grand opening, it's the soft opening of Silly's Snowballs on Main Street in South Congaree.
Now, what's a soft opening?
Soft opening is it's a practice run. It's about a week worth of practice run, mostly in the restaurant business or the food service business, where you have a practice run prior to what they call the hard or grand opening, and it's just to get the bugs out. Most people
Okay.
would not do a grand opening of a restaurant or food service business the very first day you open the door.
Okay.
Too many problems. Although I have been to some that have been very successful.
Okay.
One of our favorite advertisers is Captain D's in Lexington, and I was invited to their soft opening, and those folks have it going on. They hired everybody, did the final hiring on Thursday. They spent all day Friday and most of the day Saturday training them, and they had their soft opening Saturday night and invited. It was guest only, all free food. Go and try it and see what you think. Give them suggestions about how they can change it, and it was almost perfect on Saturday night. I was very, very impressed. But even on Saturday night on the soft opening, and a lot of times on soft openings, David, you'll see trainers working in the dining room or in the customer area right alongside making suggestions. And normally if you get invited to the soft opening, especially if it's a true soft opening where everything is free, and it's guest public officials, fire, police, perhaps maybe news folks, teachers would be invited to a soft opening, and the reason is it's a training opportunity for the employees.
So like the cosmetology, high school cosmetology class, they'll cut your hair for free.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah,
no
but you get a free
guarantee.
haircut.
No guarantee what you're gonna look like when you leave.
That's exactly right. But
Gotcha.
in the soft opening, the soft opening at Captain D's, the day that I was up there, and we enjoyed a great meal up there. They were training the young girl to how to wipe the table next to me, and I learned more about wiping tables than I ever knew. So I enjoyed it. There's actually a technique to it, and there's certain types of cleaners that you use, and so one of the management was teaching the young girl how to wipe the table next to me. And I learned
Do you
that.
do the S so that you trap all this stuff?
Yes,
in
you
the
do
middle
the
and you don't
S,
have
and
to
there are
put-
certain ones,
about
certain ones that you don't use in the dining room, and there's a reason for that. Smell is a big important part, and they don't. I have to kind of giggle about this one, but they actually use a code at Captain D's for the trash cans, so that when they say go clean, go empty the trash, you don't use the word trash. They had a code that indicated you needed to go and check the trash receptacles in the dining room and get those out, dump them. But they don't. They feel like the word trash or garbage is unappealing around their customers, so they use a code.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
That's
It really
cool.
does. So
Yeah.
you learn a lot. You learn a
Yeah.
lot.
Maybe we should start doing that on here.
Teaching.
No, codes for like if we're going to talk about liberals or tree huggers.
What
Or,
would a code for a liberal be?
I don't know. We have to.
Crybaby.
Whiners. I don't know.
I was thinking about this morning. I was on the way to work this morning. I was thinking about some situations that I've been involved in where people expect so much and give nothing in return, and how frustrated I get about that. And it seems like there are times that I just feel trapped in my own life, and that I've got to do this. And you've been in that trap before. You and I've talked about it. Grandchildren. Well, I wouldn't help the parents because the parents are making poor decisions in their life. But if I don't do it, and the grandkids have got you trapped, so those are certainly things that you have to consider. And somehow I went from that straight to liberals, and I don't know how I made that transition. But
I'm thinking of Rodney Dangerfield on Caddyshack when he sees Ted Knight's grandson, who's like the ultimate loser.
yes.
And Rodney Dangerfield says, "And now I know why tigers eat their young."
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of famous liberals, Hillary Clinton was cleared yesterday by the FBI. So she has a clear sailing to the Democratic nomination
All right.
and perhaps the presidency of the United States.
So we've got a foreigner Muslim in there now. Then we've got a potential traitor. Traitor who's been cleared by the FBI, maybe going to get in there. And then we've got a guy that's had 2 foreign wives that aren't even citizens possibly going to be in there. I feel like I'll sleep very soundly at night going forward.
Yeah. The way that national elections affect Lexington County are probably the most frustrating thing in politics for me. And the reason for that is because oftentimes you can go around the circles that I move in Lexington County and can't find a soul that voted Democrat because we live in Lexington County, and yet we've had a lot of Democratic leadership in my lifetime. President Clinton 2 terms, and then President Obama 2 terms. So we've got a lot of liberal Democratic leadership, and yet when you go around Lexington County, it's very hard to find somebody who voted that way.
Well, let me just point something out to you. The budget deficit grew twice as much under Bush as it did under Clinton.
That's exactly right.
So all you Republicans that are living in a dream world that Republicans are the fiscal conservatives, wake up, snap out of it. It ain't so.
In fact, Bill Clinton, didn't he balance the budget
Yeah.
at some point during his term?
I think that's the term they use. I don't think he actually balanced it, but it was
The
some,
lowest deficit we've had.
it was some semblance
Decades.
of you got to remember with Bill, you got to even define what the word is. That's when all this words mean different things to different people depending on how you're using them started. But yeah, we look, we howled and screamed about Bill Clinton, and we look back now and we go, God, wouldn't it be great to have Bill Clinton? As opposed
there's
to
a lot of points that go. We talked a lot in Lexington County last year about the school resource officer that had that altercation with the girl over at Spring Valley High School and slammed her to the ground.
body slammed.
Basically body slammed her to the ground, and our attitudes towards it versus folks on the other side of the river's attitude towards it. Over here in Lexington County, what most of us saw was a young lady that was misbehaving and disregarding the command of a legal law enforcement officer in the process of doing his duty. And then in the other side of the river, and in a lot of circles, folks saw it as a police officer out of control, which just not the way I saw it. But we see such things so differently through a different set of eyes, depending on.
Well, this will shock you. I saw it both ways.
Did you really?
I really did. I mean, I thought she got what was coming to her.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, okay, guys, take this. I'm gonna piss this guy off, and we're gonna get on YouTube, and
Become famous.
and we're gonna become
National news.
famous, and we're gonna highlight police brutality and how all white people are bad, and hate all black people. Okay, and so she antagonized the guy into doing what he did.
Yep.
But in that position, you just cannot do that. I mean, I understand what the excuse was, and
So what do we do? What's the answer?
you snatch your butt out of that chair, but you ain't got a body slam. You just
I thought you were going a different way with it. I thought you were going to say clear the room, make sure there's no cameras, and do what you got to do.
Well,
send all the kids out of the room.
all
the cameras.
You just can't lose your cool. Like I just think the guy lost his cool, and I get it. If I'd have been that guy, I might have lost my cool too. But I don't know that he should have body slammed her right there.
Well, it's a situation that's gotten out of hand more and more.
But we're sitting here watching TV this morning, and there's a shooting in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And they're showing it over and over. Have you seen it?
I didn't pay a whole lot of attention because, but I do know there's a lot of controversy. And one of the controversies is that the body cameras were dislodged in the altercation between the officer and the suspect, so there's no body cam footage.
Yeah, there's no body cam footage, but there's a bystander with a cell phone taping it, and the guy's on the ground, handcuffed or fixing to be handcuffed, laying on his stomach. There's 2 officers on his back with his knees. And again, I haven't watched it and I haven't read it, but it looks like one officer pulls out the gun, shoots the guy in the back, and kills him.
Yeah.
Now, again, I mean, come on, guys. We know that these liberals, these quote, Black Lives Matter activists, which do not speak for 95% of the black population, we know that they're looking for ammunition like this, So quit giving it to them. My God, quit giving it to them. And then on top of that, that's just not the right thing to do. Okay, I mean, you remember the guy that there was the footage of the black guy running and the white cop pulls out his gun and just starts shooting. I mean, man, you just can't do that. I mean, I don't care black, white, whatever. You just can't do that. I mean, come on,
Well, color
guys.
doesn't have anything to do with it. I mean, it shouldn't have anything to do with it.
It shouldn't have anything to do with it. It really shouldn't. You know, black on white, white on black. It really shouldn't. But I mean, you just got to be cooler than that. And I mean, look, you've been around law enforcement all your life. And I've been around them a lot, and we know that 98, 99% of them are good guys.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But man,
Some of my favorite people are law
when
enforcement.
you get these one or twos that are just Barney Fifes, man, you got to get them out of there quick.
It's become easier to identify them before they become a problem, but it's still not the easiest thing to do. I mean, there's all kind of. I know a guy that applied and wanted to be a state trooper. Many times he applied, and there was no way. He was not stable. He's never been stable. I've known him all his life. He's always been a kook. He's always been a wannabe cop. And I mean, got very close to being in trouble a number of times while he was in high school for having equipment he wasn't supposed to have, and that caught him. But there's some that just get away with it and make it through the process. But for the most part, by and large, most of the police officers I know are very, very intelligent, caring, kind, hard-working people.
But then again, that's over here in Lexington County, and they're dealing with a certain demographic over here
Yeah.
that they don't have racial stuff coming back in their face like if there were officers over in Richland County.
Yeah, and I mean, the honest to goodness is that even though we're west of the city of Columbia, the other side of the river is the Wild Wild West. You talk to people who've worked on the other side of the river. Glenn Ross was a perfect example.
Sammy Coon.
Yeah, Sammy Coon. I mean, to them over here, it's a big snooze fest.
Yeah, so
because of the difference in policing.
So if we grew up over there and we knew all the police officers over there as opposed to knowing them all over here, I bet our opinions would be different. So I'm sure it's different everywhere you go in every city you go into. Because again, like over here, man, 99% of the guys over here are straight up. But they've got no reason not to be straight up. But, if I got somebody in my face, that constantly thinks I'm out to, be a racist, and they're hurling racial slurs at me day after day after day, and I'm sitting there trying to protect them, and they're, I'm scared to turn my back on them because I know they're wanting to do me harm. That might change me as an officer over time.
I got you.
And I might be tempted to body slam that girl, which, you know what? Like I said, she got what was coming to her.
Yeah.
But you got to be cooler than that. You
can't let your emotions get out of hand.
Yeah.
We've got some more officers coming in over the next weeks and months to be guests on the show. We've had several in already, several police chiefs, and we want to have more. And one that I'm looking forward to is having Sheriff Coon now, because Sheriff Coon has been in law enforcement forever, been in different areas. He's also a graduate of the FBI National Academy. A lot of experience, and he supervises officers, and he's had to make those hard decisions. A few weeks ago, he had to let an officer go that was involved in taking some golf clubs out of a shed. I don't know all the details behind that, but I know that Sheriff Coon ended up having to make the decision to let that officer go. So it'd be interesting to hear his take on some of this. Anyway,
most of these guys lay their lives on the line for no money.
Really, no money.
No money. My dad always taught me, you yes sir, no sir, treat them with respect. But that's the rest of the world is not raised like you and I were raised.
No. Hey, today is Hamburger Steak Plate Day at Ventures, so we're happy to hear that's coming up. We always have Hamburger Steak Plate Day on Wednesday. And for $7.99, you can get a hamburger steak plus sides and side salad. That's $79.99. Or wait till tomorrow night and go eat crab legs. All you can eat crab legs.
I rode by there and looked at that place yesterday. They spent some money fixing that place.
It's a nice place, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice place. Don't forget to send us your prayer requests, anything to do with faith, schools, or community, birthdays and anniversaries, ideas, and sports. Send it to the Southwest Lexington Ledger at swlexledger@gmail.com. And continue to think about downloading our app at Google Play or the Apple App Store. It's absolutely free. You get great coupons as well as alerts. We used it this morning to alert about the working structure fire over in the Batesburg and Leesville area of the county. And there's another app we want to turn you on to, and that's the Midlands Christian Business Directory. That is a place where you can find Christian-owned businesses that do business in our area, and there are categories. So if you need a Christian mechanic or a carpet cleaner or a plumber or a carpenter or electrician or whatever you need, just go to the Midlands Christian Business Directory, and you can find that in several different ways. Now, David, can you download that from Google Play and Apple app?
Well, you surprised me on that. I didn't know that you knew that I had an app.
Yes, I do.
I've had a Midlands Christian Business Directory app on Google for quite a while. I've never uploaded it to Apple because I really just haven't been ready to promote it yet. There is an app there.
Spill the beans.
You spill the beans. There is an app out there, Midlands Christian Business Directory app. At this point, it really doesn't do anything more than a website.
Just a little more convenient to have on your phone.
But it is a little more convenient to have on your phone. And again, you can go to certain categories and click certain categories. For instance, if you want, all the articles on leadership or all the articles on church. Let's say you're a pastor. Pretty much every day we've got a church article.
Right.
I think today's church articles was how to keep your announcements from being so boring.
Yeah.
That's so if you're a pastor and every day you just want to read that one article out of the Midlands Daily, and you've got the app on your phone, and you just open the app and click that category, and boom, there it is. And that is coming to Apple. As soon as I've developed the patience to go and deal with Apple again, I will upload it to Apple. But generally, it's a nightmare to try to get anything through Apple. So I got a few other people waiting in line for apps right now. So mine's kind of on the back burner right
But
now.
then if they want that information and they don't have the app, there's another way to find it.
Oh yeah, just on the website, Midlands CBD, Midlands Christian Business Directory, MidlandsCBD.com.
And you can also look at the Midlands Daily. And
Yep.
the neat thing about the Midlands Daily is you can sign up for email flashes.
Yep.
That will give you key articles going on
Yep.
on the email daily.
If you'll just subscribe to the Midlands Daily, then every time the edition is published in the morning, you'll just get an email that'll have the headlines with a little picture of the 8 to 10 articles that are out that day. So for instance, if every day you just want to read the family article, we've got a great series in there we run at least twice a week. It's called Love and Respect, and it's a 2 to 5 minute video by this guy that goes all around the country doing these conferences on marriage. And it's by far, this is by far the best marriage advice. And I've been in church for all my life, and I'm 55 years old, and I've heard all the marriage conferences and how you do this and how you do that. This is by far head and shoulders better than anything else I've ever heard. Everybody that's married and everybody that thinks they're ever going to get married needs to listen to this.
Have this information.
Have this information. It's incredible. And it's biblically based. It is based on 2 verses in the New Testament. One is, husbands, love your wives, and wives, respect your husbands. And the whole series is based on that, because it's not natural for a man to do love and show love to the wife. And it's not natural for the woman to respect her husband. Okay? A woman don't have any trouble showing love and affection to her husband, but it's not natural for her to respect him.
I got you.
A man will, lay down his life for his wife. He'll die for her. Okay, and he thinks that's showing her love, but that's not the woman's love language. The woman's love language is, did you touch me and tell me you love me? Did you caress my shoulders? Did you sit there across the table and talk to me and let me tell you how bad my day was? The man would rather die than do that sort of stuff. But again, that's her love language. And once you understand the code, you were talking about the code for taking out the trash at Captain D's. Once you understand the code, man, it makes marriage so much easier, because now when she's griping at you and fussing at you, and you think, my God, I cannot please this woman, you all of a sudden you understand, I have been giving her what I want, not what she needs.
Yeah. And we do that.
And so, and guys are slow on stuff like that. Women are kind of more intuitive on stuff like this than guys are. Guys are slow on stuff like that. You got to draw us a picture. And these videos are some of the most awesome videos I've ever found. And so we try to put 2 of those in there every week, one on Monday and one on Thursday. And then we've also got a series in there from FamilyLife.com that are on parenting and things like that. So again, said all that to say this. You sign up, you subscribe to the Midlands Daily. You get an email every morning. When you open that email, there's the headlines from 8 to 10 articles with a little picture out beside it. So if you see the little love and respect picture, you know that's the love and respect video that day. All you got to do is click on it. It goes right there. So one click, you can watch the video. That may be the only thing you want to look at in the paper that day or ever. Fine. Gives you that opportunity to pick and choose what you want. So if you're a preacher, maybe all you want to do is look at the church articles. If you're a tech nerd, maybe all you want to do is look at the tech articles. We got a tech article in there every day, usually on apps or social media, on a website, something like that. So little something for everybody.
Well, that's interesting, and you can find that at themidlandsdaily.com.
Themidlandsdaily.com. Subscribe, and if you're a business owner out there and you want to put your business in front of the 250,000 Christians in Richland and Lexington County, give us a call. We need as many business sponsors as we can get, and again, that's a whole market out there. There's 250,000, according to the most recent census. In Richland and Lexington County, there's 650,000 people, and there's 250,000 of them that identify as Christians.
We're going to take a break to tell you about some things going on the roadway. Still got a lot of accidents on I-20. Accident I-20 east at the 56. They're still showing the one at South Lake Drive and Edmond Highway, although that should be about cleared up. It's been out there a while. I-20 east at the 58, another accident. I-20, trying to read this, I-26 at the 107 east, an accident. And I-26 at the 104, an accident. I hope you see a pattern here. One accident breeds another. That means people are not paying attention to where they're going. They're paying attention to the accidents. So don't be one. Oftentimes I say I like to report on accidents, not be the part of the or the actual topic of the reporting. So I don't want to be involved in one, and you shouldn't be either. Watch out, be careful, watch where you're going, drive safely, and follow the Ledger and the Good Morning Lexington County show for all your information on those accidents. So be aware of that. Now again, we said that you could send us information in. We look forward to you doing that. Send us information to swlexledger@gmail.com. We thank all of our sponsors, including Sheely's PDQ and Sheely's PDQ 2. Today is Wednesday, so it's Pork Chop Day at Sheely's PDQ 2, #1 Crystal Springs Drive in Edmond. $7.99 for a meat and 3 vegetables and a medium drink. And let me tell you something, David. Watch for fire trucks. Watch for patrol cars. Watch for ambulances. And watch for utility trucks at restaurants, and you'll know a good place to eat. You know that?
I didn't know that's where you were going with that, but that is
you
that
know
is
I was
the
going to
truth.
say pull over and come to the right.
Pull over and
if
stop.
you see a fire truck, if you see an ambulance, if you see a police car, pull over to the right in that parking lot and get out and eat. Because that's a good place to eat.
That's some good advice.
The utility trucks are the same way. There are certain places, including both locations of Sheely's PDQ, where you are always going to see utility trucks. Whether it be Mid-Carolina, SC&G, Carolina Tree Service, it doesn't matter. You know, they're going to be there, and that's because it's a good place to eat.
You do not want to eat where the white-collar guys eat because they're eating for atmosphere.
That's right.
You want to eat where the blue-collar guys eat because they're eating for the food.
The working man's place to eat.
That's where you want to go.
There are places I grew up. I'll never forget this. We had a big ice storm. You remember the ice storm in the 70s? It's still the biggest ice and snowstorm that South Carolina's ever had, I believe. Yep. In the mid-70s. Shut down everything for a long time. Had the National Guard out on the interstate picking up people that were trapped in cars and all that kind of stuff. There was a place in Chapin called Naki's Restaurant. And the utility companies just had him stay open 24/7. He did the greatest fried chicken and pimento burgers you ever eat in your life. And the utility companies just had a tab. You know, they would cycle their crews into Naki's, and he would feed them all a meal and get them back out there working again. And that's working man's food. And Sheila's PDQ reminds me of Naki's. You can come in here and have a great hamburger. You see those double cheeseburgers that our guy Mitch eats on a daily basis, the chicken sandwiches and the sausage. And man, if you're hungry for a real breakfast, and we're not talking about any frou-frou, granola, and skim milk. We're talking about grits, eggs, bacon, grits like it should be. You know, I was in here one time not long ago, and there's an old gray-headed fella kind of sitting at the table, and he looked around at Wesley Hubbard, who cooks here at Sheely's PDQ on Main Street in South Congaree. He said, Wesley, I'm going home to get my mama and bring her back up here to let you teach her how to make grits. Now, that's about as good a compliment on grits making as you'll ever get in your life. You know, so you can get it here.
You know, places like this, and don't take this the wrong way.
Here we go.
This is going to come off the wrong way, and I'm talking about one of our sponsors.
Our
okay?
equal opportunity offender work.
No, I don't mean this offensive. I mean this as a compliment. Generally, if the way it looks on the outside is up here, then the food is kind of down here.
Yeah.
When the way it looks on the outside, you know, isn't as great as what you would think, then generally the food is pretty awesome.
Because we do have a mud hole in the parking lot here.
We got two this morning.
2 mud holes.
I'm parked between both of them.
You know, but we got the big gravel lot. That's always important because the gravel lot's where they park the utility trucks. You know, if you see a boom truck and a pole setter and a chipper, and then you see 2 or 3 patrol cars and the ambulance and a fire truck,
you know the food's good.
It gets place. And the guys with the ladder racks on the truck.
Yep.
That's always important. And Sheely's PDQ, in the mornings when you come in here, the guys with the ladder racks are here.
When my daughter comes home,
yes,
she and I usually, we're on exit 51 on 20, so we usually run 7 miles down the interstate to exit 44 and eat at the 44 truck stop. Now, when you look at that place from the outside, you would be like, I don't know if I want to eat anything from in there. But let me tell you what, that is some of the best food around. Just like
why have you brought her to Sheely's? I mean, have you not indoctrinated her into the Sheely's experience?
No, we've not.
It's just been a family tradition.
It's just we never have a reason to come over this way when she's home.
You know, that's funny because people are like that. I grew up in Chapin, and in Chapin, some people were the Newberry crowd and some people were the Columbia crowd, and the two never crossed ways. I mean, you know, you met some people that I grew up with in Chapin and went to school with in Chapin, and you know, they went to the hospital, they went to Newberry Hospital, not Lexington County, or not to the Columbia hospitals, and then you know, they went out for the night to eat. They went to Newberry, and then there was the Columbia crowd. That, you know, when my father took us out to eat when I was a child, you know, a treat was to go to McDonald's, and the nearest one was on Broad River Road at Dutch Square. You know, 30 miles from where we live. But, you know, we never went to Newberry. And that was kind of strange because my mom graduated Newberry College. But then there was people who never went to Columbia. They always went to Newberry.
We're not like that. I'll eat anywhere. I'll eat anybody's food. Man, I'd come here. We go to Batesburg. We go to Gilbert.
You need to bring her to Sheely's and indoctrinate her into Sheely's experience. And there's a table here, folks. If you've never been to Sheely's in South Congaree, there's a certain time of day. There's basically 2 terms. There's like the 7:30 to 8 o'clock, 8:30 crowd, and then there's the 8:30 to 9:30 crowd. And it's normally by gender specific. A lot more ladies in that 8:30 to 9:30 crowd. But you're gonna hear some tall tales and some things. Politics. Oh man, if you ever want to hear politics, that doesn't matter if it's true or not. It doesn't matter if it's going to happen or not. But we saw politics running thick and heavy here at Sheely's, and it was a lot of fun to listen to. And I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't matter if you've answered a question once or 10,000 times. If I walk into Sheely's at 8:30 this morning, you know, and that certain crowd is sitting at the table, they're going to ask me when Ramblin' Red's going to be back up. They're going to ask me that every day if I answered it yesterday or the day. And I probably could say, you know, I understand that they've dispatched a work crew from Mars and they're going to land at Maine and Ramblin' and send those Martians down to fix it. They probably wouldn't even bat an eye because they're not paying attention to my answer.
Yeah,
they're just going to ask the same question every day. Yeah. You know, we love our Sheely's crowd, and they're going to ask that same question every day. And you can hear things about jobs you've never heard of before. A lot of them worked in mills and you know, Virgil sold paper back when you didn't buy all your paper at Walmart, you know, so I mean, there's just some neat things happening over
Mr. Hayward, Miss Janie.
Yeah. The whole Sturkey crowd. Pastor Gene.
Yeah, I found out Pastor Gene's a Sturkey.
Didn't know that till you told me, you know, and I've known Pastor Gene a long time.
You might be a Sturkey.
I don't know about that.
I think everybody around here is a Sturkey.
Well, see, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
You know, I was raised in Chapin. And my folks,
a Chapin chap.
I'm a Chapin chap, and my folks actually, my dad's people, the Kirby people, were from Graniteville, South Carolina.
Graniteville, yeah, man.
And so I actually found out a number of years ago. I had uncles and aunts I did not know. We did not know my dad's dad ever. And so, I mean, he was this missing part of our heritage. So, yeah, I come from a very different family in the fact that both of my children, my parents were both only children, and you almost never saw that in that baby boom or World War II crowd. It just never happened, and both of my parents were only children. My grandmother got married very young to a man that her parents did not like, and she married him against their will, and stayed married just a very short time. She had a son, and he took off. He was a drinker and a gambler and a womanizer, and took off and left her, and she got divorced by mail years later. So.
And they said, "We told you so."
We told you so. We've got to go. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8:30 with Good Morning Lexington County. We appreciate you following us here on the Sheely's PDQ and Good Morning Lexington County Morning Show. Keep up to date with all that's going on in Lexington County, including news, weather, and up-to-date traffic as it happens. Thanks, and have a great day. God bless.